What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of Second Guessing with Stressin'. I'm your host, Garrett Williams, aka Texans commenter. Today it's last second impromptu on a Tuesday. I had to change the schedule around. I might do some more of that next week, but yeah, it's been fun, man. We spoke last on Wednesday. I wish I could go more. I might try to, maybe at least do videos or talk during the day during the week with just some training camp updates, but. No, there's been a lot of good stuff, and I was able to go actually the last 2 days, so I can give y'all some takeaways. Maybe y'all seen or heard my analysis already, but no, it's been fun. Enjoyed going to both. I'm just making sure I got everything going here. Let's see. I can't get on here. I'm trying to get my TikTok comments pulled up, but I got Instagram here. I got the main chat with the YouTube, X, and Facebook. If you want to get shown on the screen, then you can hop on one of those, and I can show it. Primo looks, what's good? How was training camp today? What's going on, Primo? Yeah, thanks for tuning in. I saw you were tuned in. I live streamed the practice today, which was dope. I didn't even plan on that. I was like, oh, let me just try it, and just kept doing it. So um, that was pretty cool how it worked out. But I'm trying to get this TikTok. It's giving me trouble to pull up the comments real quick. But yeah, training camp was dope, man. I sat with the Texans Jacob. Shout out Texans Jacob on X and Twitter, on X and Instagram. And he, him and I were able to watch it. My little brother's on Brett. What's up, Brett? On Instagram, and over on IG as well. Let's see who else we got. I got several people tuned in. ATJOC, what's going on, brother? But yeah, so it was great, man. I mean, uh, pleasant experience. I guess during the week it's not as bad. I went Monday with my nephew, so I wasn't like as serious as far as trying to watch every play. Got there kind of late. We just played some of the games and stuff, and then we saw into practice, so we got to see some, but not all. But uh, and then today, I got there still not early, but I got there right at 9, and I was able to get in just fine and get a good look at most of it. And you're kind of like, subject to, you try to sit in the middle, but sometimes they go one end, the other end. So you can see stuff though. Yeah. And today was dope just live streaming it, dude. Like it was my first time to do it from my phone, like with this app so I can connect to all my other socials. And I was figuring out how to do it from my phone. I couldn't figure out at first that I was flipping around that you can actually find a setting to do it. So, but it was cool though. Like it's just like normal chatting with you guys and trying to give some commentary, and luckily like the noise there is kind of loud, so like I feel like I wasn't really bugging anybody, and it sounded like me and Jacob were just talking ball, so it was cool in that regard. So shout out Clayton Anderson, 713 Sports Talk, says what's up, G Will. I'll be on his show this Thursday, so shout out Clayton, doing a great job. Nomad Scott, saw you out at training camp today. Oh, you didn't say what's up, bro? Did you say what's up to me, Scott? I know you're a follower, and we engage a lot, so that's dope. And then Clayton says, who scores first Iowa State touchdown between Jalen and Jaden? It's gonna be Jaden Higgins, I think, because he'll get more run early, because Kirk will kind of have most of the snaps in the slot, I think, and Higgins, big target. We could definitely see him getting some targets in the red zone. Adrian McPherson, it was a good day at training camp. Facts, it was a great day. It was a really good day. I enjoyed it. I think that I need to try and find out. My TikTok says I'm loading a video, and I can't because I'm trying to log out to my other account. But I want to get the comments on TikTok. It's kind of pissing me off that it's doing this. Anyways, but yeah, if y'all don't, obviously follow me on everything at Texans Commenter. I guess I don't have the scrolling thing, captions. Let's see. There we go. At Texans Commenter on X, TikTok, and it used to be YouTube, but YouTube is now Houston Stressins, and that's also Facebook, Instagram. Obviously, the website, HoustonStressins.com. I've been wanting to write more. I got plenty of ideas for articles. It's just tough with all the content. Like training camp is crazy. Like you have like the practice and people. Shout out all the fans like Harley, Ruben, AD, whoever else is out there, posting videos. I guess myself, Jacob. But yeah, so there's that kind of content. There's the reporters, all the great local reporters, tweeting videos that they can, tweeting updates about play by play. And then you got the interviews, and then now like the podium, and then you got like this is the time of the year where you got, D'Amico on NFL Network, you got Casario on Pat McAfee, you got interviews on 610. It's crazy. And I'm the kind of guy that like I love consuming all of that, and like I feel like you can find a lot out when you kind of listen to all of it. So, um, anyways, like the content, and I've been trying to like not be so spammy, but there's just so much. And so I try to like aggregate some of it like on the other platforms like Instagram rather than what I had done and just post every clip. I've been trying to bunch them together. So I don't know if that's the best way to do it or not, but I mean, it's tough, but I forgot where I was going with that. But yeah, so my website, HoustonStressens.com. And I want to get my newsletter going and maybe I'll start writing an article a day, just a simple one, but it's tough for me because whenever I do a topic, like I want to like go in, like I don't like just typing the so and so's hurt. Like I like to like do deep dive analysis. So it's tough for me just to sit down and write. Like I'll be doing it for like that's just my personality, I guess. Um, Nomad said didn't want to bother you. That don't matter, man. That unless you didn't want to be on the stream. I mean, if y'all ever see me anywhere, like please say what's up. Like we're friends, bro. Mr. Optimistic, I just got here. What I miss? Not much, man. Me just BSing. So welcome. We're good. Um, and let's see. T, don't forget Hutch went there too. That's true. That's a good point. Hutch could get a touchdown before those two, but I don't know if he will. He's talking about the Iowa State receivers. Mr. Optimistic is my guy. He says, I want to hear more about a top 10 O line. Yeah, I mean, I never said top 10 O line. I said top 10 offense. I think they can be a top 10, top 15 O line. But I mean, and that's what we've said too is like, as far as, or that's what I've always said. Like, as far as I think a lot of people kind of agree with this thought. I've heard other people say it, but for the Texans to be a legit Super Bowl contender, all we need is a slightly above average offense. And for us to have a slightly above average offense, all we need is an average O line. I think most people would agree with that. Like we have, the running backs, we have the receivers, we have the quarterback, we have the tight ends. We just need good pass protection and a decent run game. I think most people agree with that. So no, I didn't say we'd have a top 10 O line. I think they can be 15 very attainable, but I mean, who knows? Maybe I don't know about top 10. I mean, they could maybe be like around 12, 13. But I think they'll be better than, let me see. Let me go to here real quick. I think I got my TikTok coming up. Let's see. There we go. Let me go to here. Yeah. So no, but still, I mean, that also is, me saying that they can be a top 10 offense easily is controversial and it's bold. But I believe it, man. I mean, I know, shout out John Crumpler. Him and I, kind of went back and forth on X about it. I get that, like, that's not the norm. So, like, I don't get upset when people, say, like, you're dumb for thinking that. But I truly believe it. I mean, to me, it's, I really think the offensive coordinator and O line coaching and scheme was that bad last year. And then also the interior offensive line, so it was mostly coaching and scheme. And then for the personal part that was that bad that held the offense back was we had two of, if not the worst interior offensive linemen in all of football on the same roster in Kenyon Green and Shaq Mason. They're gone. So, I mean, from those three things, from the coaching of Slowick and Strausser, and then the scheme from them, and then the personnel of those two guys, like it already is an instant impact. And I pointed out too, like a tweet, and this is something I've known, but it's like it becomes more aware to you as a fan that obviously interior pressure is 1,000 times more detrimental than exterior pressure. And our exterior wasn't bad. Obviously, LT is great pass pro, elite pass pro, and then right tackle was Titus, and then Fisher did decent last year. But the interior was just getting worked, and you have nowhere to go. But now I think the Texans realize that too. Like you trade LT mostly because of cap, but then you also realize, hey, we're going to lose that, but we can also now use those resources to find other guys, and we can have a better overall net five. We can reinforce the interior, and our interior play is going to increase. I mean, even just anybody walking in the room, not to mention, maybe they're a better player, and maybe it's a better scheme and better coaching, Cole Popovich, and running gap scheme, this and that. So, but and you're going to dip a little bit on the exterior, and just moving Titus to right guard is massive. That is locked down. He's going to be a stud. He can I think he'll be a Pro Bowl caliber right guard. Like he pancaked somebody, I believe, today. Like he's been built. He's been working the whole offseason for it. He's built his body around it. He is more of a mauler. So, and Laken Tomlinson, he seems like he can be doing just fine at left guard. We got options there. They're rotating Jalen Thomas in there. And the depth is a lot better. But anyways, uh, so obviously we're going against the top edge rushing duo in the league, and Daniil Hunter and Will Anderson Jr. So the tackles are getting beat, but CJ can now step up into the pocket and run out, or step up and throw, or step up and run. So like at least he can step up into a pocket, and no one can survive with interior pressure like that. So just a couple comments. Jacob Kusera on Instagram, Texans Super Bowl 2026. I can see it. Yeah, I mean, if that's this year too, I mean, I think they can do it. And then Bray Rob says Higgins finishes with at least 800 plus and 5 TDs. Yeah, I can see it. I mean, you know, uh, definitely the touchdowns and the yards too. I mean, he's a big play weapon. Let me check on TikTok real quick. So shout out TikTok. We got someone being a Titans fan. Sorry, bro. And then let's see. And then Mr. Optimistic said, misread, LOL, multitasking. Yeah, no, I'm not that optimistic on the line, and I don't think they need to be world beaters. Adrian McPherson says, if you're there tomorrow, I'm gonna say what's up. Appreciate the coverage of the Texans. Enjoy everything on Instagram. I appreciate that, man. I want to, but I won't be able to go. So let me know your observations tomorrow. So Mr. Optimistic says he will take a top 10 offense. Facts, me too. Jacob collects. CJ looking better or worse? He's looking good, man. So I guess I can go over my observations from the practice here after these next couple comments, and then I'll kind of rewind and go back through the timeline, which, if it's been a week, I might have quite a bit of content to cover. So I'll try and just, hit the important stuff. Adrian says he likes Noel too. I do as well. Brandon, my guy Brandon, remember last year when people said we shouldn't think about drafting O-line in the second round? Yep. And then he says, now I think it's possible they go O-line in the first round again next year. Yeah, I mean, I guess every year is different, the way your roster is being built out. Jordan, thoughts on our tight end room as of now? Man, I've come to this realization the past 2-3 days with training camp, but our tight end room was like a bottom 5. I mean, I think that's not really debatable. That's I think most people would say that. Last year, I think they could be a top 10 unit this year. I think they could be one of the most improved units in all of football. I think they're being very overlooked. And my logic on that is for a multitude of reasons. The first one being Nick Caley, new OC, more innovative, former tight ends coach, changing the packages as far as, where they're using them, lining them up. And then also you get the return of Brevin Jordan, who missed pretty much most of the year last year. You have Kate Stover, the year 1 to year 2 jump. Nick Caserio has already talked about him having the best offseason he's seen of anybody in the building. And when I went to practice on Monday, he was after practice working for 30 minutes after on everything. And then obviously Dalton Schultz, he's been making plays, bro. But obviously, we know his strengths and weaknesses, but I think he was heavily misused last year in a role that didn't suit him. And then it kind of bled over into, him not performing at what he's supposed to, in receiving. He looks back to his elite receiving self as a tight end. If you can limit, him in the blocking situations and not asking him to, put him in scenarios where he's one-on-one with elite edge rushers, if you can, that'd be great. And we don't have that one dominant tight end like some teams do, like back in the day, like a Gronk, or with the Raiders with Bowers, who can do it all. But we have we have a mix of guys that can complement each other well. So I think that's definitely something that we can definitely take advantage of. So I think the tight end room is very slept on. I'm very high on it because of scheme and coaching. And D'Amico talked about them playing well. He talked about them blocking well. It's kind of hard as a fan to say when you're there if they're blocking well, but there really wasn't many pressures. They seem to be blocking well. The play calling seems to be better. We got them on some better designs. And I think that shout out Big Sarge Sports on IG. He said, good meeting you today. Sorry I couldn't stay longer. Yeah, so after DJ Bieneme with ESPN hit me up and he's like, "Hey, are you here? Let's meet up or let's meet." Because I've interviewed a lot of these reporters that we have on here, and I consider them friends. I consider all y'all friends. And so I went and said what's up to DJ, and Chancellor was there. Chancellor Johnson, formerly with KPRC2, and then Big Sarge came out too. So it was nice. Like I knew those guys and know those guys. It was nice to like physically meet them in person. So that was dope. But shout out Big Sarge, man. We appreciate you and your hard work and all the content you put out there for us. But yeah, so on the tight end room, I forgot what the last thought was on that, but I'm definitely higher on the tight end room, man. I mean, and then you have Irv Smith, who isn't bad, and then Luke Lachey or Lakey. I can't remember how you pronounce his name. I'm just gonna say Lakey, Lachey. I don't know what to say. No, but my point is like the tight ends have been heavily involved in camp. It's maybe because Kaylee's a former tight ends coach. Maybe we were running some heavier package, more 12 personnel more often, maybe some 13 personnel, three tight ends. But I think the biggest reason is the fact that we have studs on the outside. We have Nico and we have Higgins and we have Kirk. I think they're getting more of the focus. So then now you have advantages in the matchups with your tight ends on the underneath stuff, and defenses are kind of forcing you to take that. And that's great. I mean, it can act as a de facto run game, hitting tight ends on these hitches, curls, slants, flat routes, getting these 3 to 5 yard gains to get positive momentum to keep the chains moving. So I think that's part of it. Yeah, I talked about Irv. I think Irv is solid too. So, but yeah, so I think that's a big part of it. Is there's defenses that are focusing on our receivers, Nico and Higgins, and that gives us the underneath. And it seems like a concerted effort. It seems like CJ and the quarterbacks are making very quick and decisive reads. Hey, if this isn't there, take this, or if that's there, take it right away. Not a lot of holding on to the ball. And that was a big thing I noticed today in practice. Why that was a great way to negate pass rush. The ball was getting out quick, decisive reads. And you get positive yards and you avoid, what our Achilles heel was last year, which was constantly being stuck in third and long and second and long by getting positive, gains. Like instead of being third and long, second and long, you're second and 3, second and 5, third and 3, third and 5. Now you can run play action off of that. So I think that's definitely a good thing. Antonio Colby Hobbs says Fisher is becoming a Kenyon Green. I don't think so, man. I mean, I can't act like I've sat here and watched all these reps. I mean, I've only been to 2 practices. The one that I did go, I kind of like half saw. And then even then when you're there, I mean, it's hard to see certain times depending on where they are. And then it's also hard to watch everybody at once. Me being a former receiver, I naturally just watch the quarterbacks and receivers. So it's hard for me to like key in on the O-line. But like, the observations you can make are like, okay, there was no pressure. So then, yeah, the O-line did good, which was today. But also next to me, Jacob, he keyed on the O-line and like realized they did well. So, but like as far as Fisher, I think I said this on, I think Jacob's show, Texans Probe, and maybe another show. But, he may not be playing that terrible. Like he struggled early without pads. I don't know that he struggled that bad these last 2 days with pads. He has struggled with penalties, which obviously is not great, false starts, but I mean, they happen. I'm not excusing that, but it's early and it's just, I guess like there always has to be one, sour grape or something for like us to like fixate on. I feel like that's happening to him. And even then, that being said, it's like relative to everybody else, like he's not playing well, but like he could be still playing at the same level he played last year, which wasn't terrible, but it's all relative, right? Like last year, it wasn't terrible because everything else was terrible. And if this whole O line overall is better, and he played the same way last year and he played this year as the same way he did last year, we could be having the same thing like in a game, like, oh, he's terrible, but like it's, and obviously he's supposed to improve, but like my point is like, I think that if we were stuck with him running it back at right tackle, it would be fine. Like we managed with it last year and he was not great. He was inconsistent, had some good stuff, some bad stuff, nothing crazy. You think he would at least get that again the second year, like he wouldn't just fall off a cliff and regress. I think it's because we have, and this is good. Like this is the difference between last year and this year. Is like we have options, we have depth, we have competition. So now we can be picky and be like, oh, he sucks, he sucks, he sucks. Like Ursari's better. Like, yeah, okay, good. That's a good thing. But that being said, though, like it's early, and I don't know. I feel like the early days of him getting beat without pads, and maybe the pads didn't matter, but I mean, it's also Will and Daniil. I feel like that kind of has like stayed into our minds, and now he's becoming like the attack dog, or I don't know what the word is. We're kind of pouncing on, which is fine. I mean, I get it, but it's gonna be a long camp, dude. Like we're into it, but like there's still a long way to go. But I mean, and it is what it is. Like, and I like the approach. Hey, you're not playing good enough. Ursari's playing better. I'm gonna play his ass. Hey, you jumped off sides. Get your ass out. Like that is what we need. We have accountability. There's no complacency. There's no entitlement. Like you have to earn it. And so like this is like a message. Like this is the culture that D'Amico was talking about. Like last year, I think it was mostly a product of us just not having any depth. There were no other options. So like and like guys obviously don't intentionally not try harder because they know they don't have to, but like subconsciously, like like all right, I can get away with more shit because the guy behind me is terrible. And so now it's like, hey, short leash, and so it's great in that regard. So uh, Nomad Scott said EJ Speed might be the most underrated pickup. He fits right in the defensive scheme. I agree, man. I've been high on him, and he's a beast on special teams, which like I watched the special teams drills pretty closely, and he balled out on that. And he seemed today, like I saw reports early on that he was getting some reps with the ones. I don't think I saw him with the ones today, but I saw him a lot with the twos. And he's physical, bro. Like I saw him run stuff a couple times. Look good out there. He's big and fast and long. Mr. Optimistic says, how's Lincoln looking? Like again, honestly, I can't really tell you. I didn't watch guys individually. And so when I was there on Monday, maybe some of y'all can do this. Um, what I was doing was I would see the play and then there's like a big jumbotron. I would just record that and it's like an all 22, and I posted it. And then later I was like analyzing it. Today where I was sitting, I was too close to it where I couldn't quite get it. Plus I was live streaming. I enjoyed just doing that today, but man, if we could get clips of that, we can sit there and dissect it and say, okay, here's this and here's that. Like instead, we're kind of looking at videos that people post or the Texans post. And again, it's tough. I mean, I don't know. Like I'm gonna say though, like the interior line did good today. From my general observation, they ran the ball decent. And I didn't see any pressures today. I mean, especially up the middle. And again, that could be a product of quick game, but I mean, still, if that's the case, I mean, no pressures is no pressures. There might have been one that someone else reported. I think Harris might have said it, but like I didn't see any pressures at all, like in any. And all the quarterbacks did good. Like that was my one takeaway from today's practice was like this was a very, very clean practice on both sides of the ball. I mean, aside from the couple of false starts, but like operational wise, motioning, wasn't a ton of drops. Uh, it was just smooth, and then it felt like as a head coach, I said this like DJ like said a tweet kind of like encapsulating my thoughts. I was like, I had the same thoughts, and then like I said, if I'm D'Amico, like this is like the perfect kind of practice. Like defense did some good stuff, offense did some good stuff. Neither one looked bad. Neither one looked undisciplined. Like the operations were great. Like it was great, man. So I thought it was a great practice. A couple more comments. George Willis, it was great seeing you today. Thank you for that. But are you going tomorrow? Likewise, brother. George, which were you the one wearing the Casario shirt? I'm not going tomorrow. I wish I was. Jay Roberts on Facebook. Hey, I'm blessing. I appreciate your content, stressing. I appreciate you, man. Appreciate that. King Colby says facts. And then Abdul says, dang, dude, I was there today as well. You going to any other days? Man, Abdul is my quote unquote intern. He's not an intern. He helps me out here and there. He's just got a job with the Texans, like temporary work, I believe. But Abdul is like kind of helping me out with like, he reached out, very proactive, impressive young man. I think he just graduated high school and he wants to get into the sports world. So he just asked like if there was stuff he could do, and I could give him more to do, but like I'm just too scatterbrained and just like locked in on content. I should start to delegate stuff to see if he can help me kind of like, be more efficient with time. But yeah, Abdul is dope, man. We'll have to meet up soon, brother. OG Texans, do you like my truck? Which one's your truck? I don't know. It sounds like a bot comment, but I don't think it is. Houston sports fan. Kirk looks like a dog. He might have a Pro Bowl year this year. I agree. Very underrated. I'm gonna run through a couple of comments on TikTok. Let's see. Someone said, "What a joke." One L says Stover's going to take over. I think he'll have a good year. There's a duel on TikTok as well. And then someone says, "I'm excited to see Stover." Uh, Hover Rias says, "What's our line looking like?" They look solid today, man. DD says, "Did we overpay Kirk now that we got Higgins and Noel?" No. So y'all know how I was and am like over analytical. Like once we signed Kirk, I was like, we don't need to draft a slot, but I was also assuming we're going to extend him and redo his contract, which we didn't. So we're paying him a decent chunk, but it's 1 year. But it's just like it's the same thing with Stephon Diggs. Like we're getting this veteran to come in immediately to help CJ Stroud and teach young guys, and then you can move on. And I think the plan was to get Diggs and then Mechie be the guy, and it didn't work out that way. And Diggs got hurt, and Mechie didn't, learn. And so then now I think we got Kirk, and now Noel's the guy once he's gone. And so I've talked about too. I don't know if I've said it in here. Real quick, a couple things on IG chat. Pompous says Peachy looked good today in that pass breakup on Higgins clip, considering his pec recovery. Yeah, so that was a cool play. Petrie got burnt by Kirk on one play, but it was a third down play, and it was like a third and medium. And I've always said too, like he's obviously not the best in coverage, and that's a tough cover for anybody. He's in man coverage. It was cover one. Kalen Bullock, on the left side had Kirk in the slot with Petrie, and he had Nico with Sting, and Bullock's up here. He had to decide, okay, do I stay middle of the field to help on Kirk, or do I shade to help on Nico? And he shaded to help on Nico, who had a good release, but then that kind of left the middle of the field open. So once Petrie got beat, it was wide open. So I mean, there's some adjusting. As a result, like I can extrapolate that and assume with Nico not catching a lot, maybe they're taking him away. And maybe now as they go on, they might just see, okay, Kirk's making plays now. I got to start shading to the middle if that's the coverage. And then now Nico can start getting fed. So, I mean, I think that's part of it. But the point on Petrie is he got beat. Kirk's great. But that is the one thing, like it's the gamble at the nickel spot, even though I say he's a star, he's a linebacker. If you blitz, which is if you're in cover one, you're bringing somebody and you don't get there, you run the risk of that. So that's part of the give and take. So, and then as far as Kirk though, like I guess I'll just talk about this topic. I guess I've tweeted about it and talked about it on Spaces and stuff too as well. But Kirk had a great press conference, and he explained that he is the slot option, which is the F receiver, which in this offense he says is called the adjuster, meaning that you're able to adjust your routes. And other receivers are able to, depending on the play, but you know, typically you don't want multiple guys adjusting at the same time, because if you make a break this way based off of coverage or leverage and the other guy is also doing it, you can run into each other. So you try to minimize who gets the freedom to do what. So with that being said though, a big key that I feel like is underrated for a slot receiver, especially in an offense like this where you now have more freedom and autonomy to make decisions on the fly, is the mental side of it. Like that's why I think Kirk is super valuable. He's experienced. He's played in these kind of offenses. He knows how to read the defense and leverage. And that's what he talked about, is doing that with the quarterback. The key is you and the quarterback have to see it the same. So I love this in Kaylee's offense. This is like a New England thing, these choice routes, these, option routes, other routes where you can, break this way, break that way based off of things. It's not set in stone. Whereas it feels like for the most part, there might have been some of that was slow, but most of it was like, hey, you got this route no matter what. Even if you're running a corner and the guy's standing right where you're running, nope, you got to run into him. Like, no, like now if you're running a corner, the guy's there, okay, just turn it into a seam and boom, touchdown. But the big thing is you have to be on the same page as the quarterback. So it's risk reward. So if both read it right, it can be a big play. But if it's miscommunication, it could be a terrible play. It could be a pick. And so we've seen that through practice, and that's something I've cautioned about. With the new offense, I've talked about the motion and stuff. Like the operation could be a little messy initially, which it really hasn't. But we have seen a couple of these miscommunications. There was one with Nico a couple days ago where he, went this way and CJ thought he was going that way. And so this is all normal. This is what training camp is for. Like immediately after each time, Nico and the receiver kind of talk it out, which is awesome. So I saw it twice today in 7-on-7. Hutch was on the outside and he was running like a square in. This is like a little bit different. This is like this normal stuff. He was running a square in and his defender was inside leverage. And so rather than running into the defender, the quarterback, and what Hutch should have done is, hey, you don't run into you run to grass or you stay in grass, so you don't run into the defender. So you have a little square in, but the guy's already here. Just stop right here, and I'll throw it to you here. And so it looks like a bad throw by CJ, but like, nah, bro, like, hey, stay here. So like, it's okay to see that stuff, and he talked to him right away. And then the other one was to Higgins. Higgins was running a corner route from the slot, which he was more than likely the adjuster on that play. And I believe I may be wrong on exactly what it was, but I thought the guy had outside leverage and he was running a corner route into him, so he's supposed to go up the seam. But I think the corner was like flat-footed and Higgins, released and then went here. But if he would have stayed up the seam, it wasn't like running the wrong route; it was making the wrong read. If he would have stayed up the seam, it would have been a touchdown. And Kirk pointed out like the same exact example of the same play. He said, hey, talking about this whole dynamic of the adjuster and making the right read, he said, we had a good rep today that we're able to bank and go back to when we get that look again and say, yes, this is just like we did that one time in practice, which was, okay, hey, this guy's standing here. I'm going to cut and then go straight up. And he said, like, when that happens, we both know now, hey, when I see that, I'm going to do this. I'm going to break here and I'll expect the ball that's, over the top with touch is like what he said, something like that. So, but the thing about Kirk too, though, is, D'Amico has pointed this out multiple times. Right off the bat when we signed him is the thing that he likes about Kirk that's unique about him is his vertical threat from the slot. And we've already seen it like 3 or 4 times. Like he's had 3 or 4 catches for 20, 30, 40 yards. And that's what we saw today. So like, yeah, you got a lot of slot guys that can work over the middle. Like he can do that. I mean, he can also blow the top off. So, I mean, that is very unique. Tay says, you think the offense looks better now that there's more physicality involved? Absolutely, 100% facts. I know there was concerns with the Mixon injury, which I think is all BS. I'll get into that in a minute. I think he's fine. Nothing's changed. And then, you start looking at, okay, well, who's there after that? It's Chubb and, this and that. I think Chubb is fine. I mean, today the running game looked awesome. And it's pads. And I will say too, it can go both ways. Like now that there's pads on, they're still not like going to the ground. So it's like thud almost, or maybe a little bit more. So it is hard to see. You can argue, well, it's pads and Chubb would have ran that guy over, but it's also like, okay, they could have tackled him, but they didn't. But there were several times, there was twice I saw where Chubb was in like the mix in the middle and then just broke it out. And it looked like it was green grass everywhere. And so that tells me he's got pretty good vision, like, breaking out of like the mud. But like, I've realized this, and I guess I've known this for a while, but D'Amico's kind of reiterated it. But, this offense isn't about having dynamic, 4-3 speed running backs who can house a screen pass or, take a sweep to the house for 80 yards. It's about physical, wear you down, ground and pound, double team, downhill running, get at least 3 yards a pop, keep the chains moving, get positive yards, stay ahead of schedule. That's all it is. And that's all we need. And so like, this perception of like Chubb's wash, he's slow. Like, no, bro, like he is exactly what we need. Like a physical motherfucker who's going to run your ass over and get 4 to 5 yards. And he did that every fucking time today. And then some. He looked good. And then Jawar Jordan looked good. And he's a smaller guy. But I mean, now if you think about the 1-2 punch of Mixon and Chubb just physically wearing you down, now our linemen are running duo and gap scheme and blocking downhill and getting to the second level. We're not doing this bullshit finesse wide zone where you run out and try and, box a guy out. Like, no, you're going to freaking double team this guy. Once you fucking take care of him, now you go to the next level and go get a safety. So like that's the identity. And also too, like us as fans, like I've been trying to preach this too. Like D'Amico has shown us, like he is a defensive minded head coach. The way he wants to win is boring as hell. He would be happy as hell winning a game 3-0 every week. He wants to have ball control on offense, run the clock, be conservative, and have field position and lean on his defense. And it'll probably continue to be that. But Nick Caley has talked about establishing the run. A lot of our issues last year is because there was no run game. So now if we change the gap, change the type of running, we don't care about having these home runs, boom or bust. We want consistent, methodical drives with consistent. It doesn't need to be elite rushing, just enough to keep us out of these second and third and longs. And then now what you do is 2nd and 5, 3rd and 2, boom, play action. That's the whole offense. That's like the Patriots, Rams, like that's the offense. And you have these big receivers who can block in the run game. And a lot of what the Rams have done is, they had the insert motion where an outside receiver will motion into the box and run through a gap and block a guy. And then you'll do it again, motion into the box. I'm going to block you. Nope. Corner, post, boom, big gain. So running backs look good. Chubb looks good. And again, too, like I'm not like that's just my perception, my opinion from what I saw. And it should be like we can't just take, even if my opinion is right, if we all agree with that, there is, like I said, the variables of like, okay, do we really know if this guy could have tackled him, didn't? So like there is some of that, but I will say too, like with Chubb, I'm not worried. I think that he's still still getting back into football shape. He's been out for a year and a half, 2 years, or however long it's been for the injury, for his major injury, and then the second injury he had was pretty much a non-factor. But Dr. Deepak Chona, who was on here, he's a surgeon at the Houston Med Center and runs a website that's like sports analytics with medical. He says that he will be back to 85% of his old self week 1. And so Chubb was never this burner. He's always been a bruiser. That's his game. Like, I don't understand. Like, we just assume like because he's not running a 4.3, he sucks. Like, did he ever run like that? Like, I don't recall that. Like, I feel like he's always been a bruiser. Maybe he's lost some top end speed, but I don't think that's necessary. But yeah, so like Chubb, so like that's the other part too, is like he'll slowly get better. He hasn't been, really getting like, used to contact like this for a little while. So he's only going to improve. And again, too, like once he kind of gets ready, like back off. And so like just on the mixing pieces, we're talking about running backs. Yeah, it's all BS, bro. Like I snuffed it out from the beginning. Ian Rappaport, I'm sure he's a great reporter, a great guy. But there's been multiple times where like he's reported stuff and I don't know if he intentionally does it, but like it like misleads the masses. And so like as soon as he reported that, I was like, I don't believe this. He made it sound like there was new info and he said foot, which was not, what it was. And so Aaron, and then like, we've seen Mixon all off season, walking around at camp looking fine, but then all of a sudden out of nowhere, like there's news that he like says, it's a frustrating injury. He's on NFI. It was basically the same info, but kind of redone in a weird way. And then after that, I had a video with analysis with his opinion based off of that old news that he reshared. Hey, yeah, he could miss week 1. And then like the day and age we live in, I guess it's a big national account. You just see the name, trust it, boom. And I'm guilty of it too. I did it with him the next day when he reported that Tyler Guyton very likely tore his ACL, or they feared that he tore his ACL. And then like 30 seconds later, somebody's like, nope, he didn't tear it. Like, okay, well, like, how are you so quick to like say that? Like, if you're not really sure, like I felt like if I was a big account, I would be like, are we sure we're going to say this, rather than jumping the gun? So, but with Mixon, like the day and age we live in with media and a national account and fantasy football, it's like every account's like RB1 Chubb, stock down Nixon, stock up Chubb. It's just every freaking page everywhere. I'm like, this is all bullshit. Like nothing has changed. Like we've monitored this all season long as fans. Like we've known about it, but now all of a sudden it's like this huge deal. And part of it too is the way D'Amico handles injuries, which I get. So like, the lack of information creates speculation. And I get it, like whether it's us or, media or whoever else. And so it's like the unknown. But then he, we'll go over the clips, but he had a great response. Like he was pissed off. And I thought he took a shot at Rappaport, basically saying like guys just do stuff for I don't know what. But he's looking at it too from a former player lens, like protect the players. But like I think what he thinks is like, I don't need to give you unnecessary updates on every little step. And then once you give them something you think on a timeline, now they're going to hold you to it. It's like, fuck that. Like, it is what it is. Like, there's, I can't tell you what I think it is. And that's where it's unfair to the player, where if you start sharing so much and, this date and that date, and then now you put pressure on the guy. But really, to me, it's just holding him out, bro. Like, he hasn't played a preseason game since 2021. Last year when he was with us, he had a quadriceps injury, which is probably very minor. Held him out for most of the camp. Same shit was happening. We're all freaking out. Is he going to play? Is he going to play? He's going to be all right. New system, blah, blah, blah. And he plays week one. He balls out. I mean, like, the guy's a proven veteran running back. He's a bell cow workhorse running back. He's going to play a 17-game season. And obviously, has had nicks and knacks. So, like, why do all this shit now? We're still in July. We're in July. Chill out. He'll be fine. So yeah, that's the running back room right there. George Willis, nah, it was when I said I was on the 45-yard line. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so you were on the stream. That was you. Okay, that was dope. Yeah, I saw George live and I turned around and got him on the stream. That was cool. Jordan says, what will be the deciding factors on what running backs don't make the team? For some of them, it's health. So Damian Pierce, not healthy. He was somebody that was potential on the bubble, but now with the Mixon news, which is overblown, maybe he won't, miss the team. But I mean, he hasn't practiced. So best ability is availability. So I think that's obviously a big thing. And then if you're on the fringe, special teams, but there'll be some interesting cuts being made there. Like Jawar Jordan, I'm very high on. Brent Toebox says, how did offense look overall? Sorry if you covered this already. All good. I thought they looked great, man. They look good, clean, smooth. All the quarterbacks on time, crisp passes, on targets. Good catches. And then the backup Mills has been balling, dude. And Slovis looked good today, and Mertz has been balling all camp. Mills is very underrated. Corey says Chubb to the moon. Origin Texan says talk about CJ. CJ's the GOAT. Romanus Jr., I don't know if you already covered this or not, but do our O-line look more nasty and greedy so far? 1,000%. So, like, a big thing for us was culture, right? With the O-line, changing the culture, and that we have done with Cole Popovich. The first day I went Monday, I noticed after practice they were doing push-ups. And for me, having played football, I assume that typically when a position group meets after practice, every position goes to their coach and you meet, and they kind of talk and recover some things. But like I was a receiver. If we like had drops that day, sometimes a coach, if it was an issue, would make us all do push-ups, even if it was. Sometimes it's individuals, but sometimes it's a team thing. And like, if we had 5 drops collectively, even though if all 5 were on one person, we would all do X amount of push-ups per drop. And the idea is it's supposed to help motivate that person messing up to not punish their teammates. So we're all in this together. So I assume that's like what's going on with Popovich. Like, hey, we're in this together. We had, today was great. It was pretty good, but we had, a false start and this and that. Like, we can't have that. That's 10 push-ups per false start. Get them, everybody. And so I guarantee that's what it was. And then I saw it again today. So that to me is like, okay, like now there's accountability, cohesiveness, like we're in this together, which I don't know if they did that last year or not. That's just an observation from here. And then, yeah, like Titus Howard today on a play had a crackback pancake. And that was, that's part of him playing guard, but that's like that finishing mentality. And yeah, I mean, you just listen to the guys talk, like Lincoln Tomlinson, his personality, Jake Andrews, his personality. It's definitely changed. And so like, again, I don't zero in on watching the O-line, so I don't know like too much about like actual practice, like reps, but I've seen some clips here and there where I've seen it. I see those things with, Cole Popovich, the accountability, you make a penalty, get your ass out. Like I'll take that all day, bro. Nelly's Pyro says Brevin saying he hit 21 miles per hour while coming back from his injury is crazy. Yes. So I had that clipped, but he had such a good interview. I didn't want to post too much. Yeah, talking about he's been ready. That's nuts. On IG, Little Marshmallow, are you going to training camp tomorrow? I can't make it tomorrow, so I'm relying on y'all tomorrow to let me know what's going on. Let's see what else on IG. Pampa says the potential for this defense continues to grow. Period. Facts. I think they can be historically great. Not even just the best in the league this year, but historically great. 87 JB. hey, should CJ Stroud be the MVP this year? He should be, and I think he can be. That's my hot take, is that he will be. And so he says he's out. Rolo Hendricks, let's go. That's my guy on IG. Big Bulls in this hoe. Let's go. Rolo, shout out Rolo. Gas, why she? Texans win first game. I legit think we're going to be a legit team this time around. Facts. And then, yeah, week one, Stafford's having back issues. There's potential that he could miss with back soreness. And, like, that's concerning because they said he'd be back by a certain date and he wasn't. And then, they got a new weapon in Devontae Adams. So, who knows with that? That'll be a tough test, though. And then he says Titus Howard compared to Tunsil is the flags for real. Over on TikTok, from what I've seen from camp, which six wide receivers are you going to be suited up for games? That's David Jackson. I think they might go with 7 again, with the 7th being the punt returner. So last year they kept Steven Sims as the 7th receiver as a punt returner. But obviously you got Nico, Higgins, Kirk, that's 3. And then Noel, 4. Justin Watson, I think, 5. And then I think Xavier Hutchinson, 6. And then I think Braxton Berrios, 7 as the punt returner / third slot receiver. Yeah, that's what it is. That sucks because Daniel Jackson is on the bubble. I think he's great. Mechie started off slow. Has had a good couple days. The past couple days, he had a great catch today. I was surprised by it. Mechie on a deep corner route. It was a dime by Mills, contested to the ground, and I was just expecting him to drop it, but he came up with it. And he looked good in special teams drills too. So, I've been saying his lack of ability on special teams will hurt him. And that's mostly for me thinking about the return game. But if he can find value in the kick, gunner, stuff like that, which he seems to be trying to do, but it may be too little too late. And my mindset too is like they've seen him, like they've got you have chances to prove yourself. It's like, all right, like obviously he had the injury and the cancer, which I gave him, time for, but I think after last year, it's like it might be too little too late. But I mean, who knows? Maybe I'm wrong. Hopefully, he balls out and proves me wrong, but that'll be a tough one. And let's see. So, I think I just scrolled out of it on TikTok. There we go. Someone said anything about who's starting QB. I don't know. That's a good question. And then user says Pierce is better option than Whale and Chubb. I mean, Pierce might be, if he's healthy, he could be better in this gap scheme, but we got to see him. And so, but they went and got Chubb for a reason. I don't think they got Chubb because Mixon's going to be hurt all year or miss several weeks. They got Chubb because they don't know about Pierce. And so Pierce to me falls in that same bucket as Mechie. Like, this word potential, like Kamari talked about, I don't believe in potential. Like, yeah, like we keep saying we don't want to get rid of these guys. Like, well, shit, we're on year freaking 4. Like, what do you want us to do? Like, at a certain point, like it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like, we can't we're in win now mode. We're not sitting here trying to see, oh, maybe he'll turn out. Like, no, bro. Like, I think that's why they went and got Chubb, is because, hey, Pierce, like, I don't think you're cutting it, bro. Like, we think Chubb's better. We'll get him. But I could be wrong. We'll see how it shakes out. I'd like to see him healthy and out there. Nosh says current O-line is already making an impact alongside the offense. I smell some blowout wins. Facts, baby. Let's go. Nelly's Pyros, Jimmy G throwing 4 picks if Stafford doesn't play. That would be crazy. Angel Torres says he's got an extra ticket for tomorrow. I got a post on X if you're on there, if you want to post it and see if somebody wants it. And someone asked how Stroud's doing. He's doing great. And, they're getting everything down. I think he's making plays. So let's go through the timeline real quick and see if we can, watch some cool stuff, maybe get some good insight. Yeah, I just saw a selfie of myself that was pretty funny. So, but just scrolling through, a lot of good content. I got to start doing this daily because there's too much stuff to cover, man. I got to start doing like a daily 30, 40-minute stream, bro. So I'm going to go back to a couple days. And so I can at least cover the days that I was there, which would be Monday and Tuesday. But, I like to kind of scroll through the timeline. Let's go. I can show y'all what I'm looking at now. Share. All right. We good. We cooking. All right. Let's see. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Yeah, it's just so much stuff, bro. The content is insane. Never ending, Never ending. We're still scrolling, still scrolling. While I scroll, yeah, there's a Stafford news we just talked about. I don't know when to stop. There's so much stuff. I think that's good. Okay. So yeah, there's been a lot of Josh Simmons. There's a lot of like clips and notes of him balling out, which I wasn't keyed in on drafting him. I really didn't focus on drafting any tackle because I was hyper focused on we don't need a tackle. We should draft a guard, and so I missed that boat altogether. But like my thing is like, damn, like are the Chiefs about to have some stud? That's what sucks for me. I'm fine with our picks and who we drafted. So, but yeah, there was somebody who stole Andre Johnson's ring out of his home. That is messed up. F that guy. Here is Christian Kirk talking about Nick Kelly's offense.
Now, being able to move guys around in an offense, that's something that I've done in the past, and I really enjoy. Not just me playing in the slot and Nico being outside by himself. Putting Nico in the slot sometimes, putting Hutch in the slot, putting Jay. Just moving guys around and dictating the defense with formation and motion. I think is the best way to operate as an offense, and Nick has done a great job of being able to install that so far and putting us at a spot where we can keep on evolving. So that's one of the things that I really enjoy and that I've done in the past. It's helped me so far.
That's dope. Real quick, Castillo on IG says early camp risers offense: Noel Higgins. Who else was I going to say? Stover. Defense: Jalen Smith, Bullock. And back over on offense, who was I going to say? Jawar Jordan. Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff from a lot of guys. But back to this clip, Kirk. Yeah. So we're using motion and formations to us dictate the offense as opposed to the defense dictating the offense. So we're in attack mode. We're being offensive. That's a good thing. Engineer says, I was at camp today, but I didn't see you there. Damn. Yeah, it's tough because you kind of like get there and you just go sit in your seat and everyone's kind of sitting there. That's why I don't mind like walking around. I wish there was like a time to kind of just like go and BS. Nosh says, thoughts on Christian Harris? Are you concerned about his availability? I mean, I know people don't like it, and like I hate talking about it every time, but like I feel like we're moved on from him. Like to me, like if he plays great, and let's see if he can get back to what he was. But like I've been envisioning the Texans without him, and he hasn't been out there. Maybe he'll come back soon, so it's tough. And then Brandon says we traded back and got two players, so technically we couldn't get both Higgins and Ursery if we grabbed Simmons. Yeah, so that's definitely a good point. I agree. So like, which side would you have on that? So, and let's see. Here's the tight ends coach from Big Sarge interview with Jake Moreland about Brevin Jordan.
Brevin Jordan putting a lot of work in the offseason and be able to get back. What have you seen from him in OTAs and minicamp in 3 days of practice?
Yeah, very excited about what he's done, right? Obviously, the injury was very impactful for what we had last year. He's really been chomping at the bit to get himself back. He's worked really hard over the summer to get himself in tip-top shape. He's mentally focused on what he has to do, and so far, everything's looking really well.
Brandon says, what time do you get there to get covered seating? So I think Saturday was the first day I wasn't there, and it's a Saturday. It might have been more packed. I went Monday. I went with my nephew. I got there late, like 9. So like my experience, the 2 weekdays that I've gone, it's not that bad. Like today I got there like right before 9. So you park in the green lot, which is if you just go 610 and come around and go up Kirby, like it'll tell you right before the stadium, take a left, right across from the practice bubble, and you walk through. But there's a trick. So gates open at 8, but the players practice starts at 9-ish, and they shut down like where the bridge comes over. Like they don't let you walk through to get to the seats. It's kind of like a messed up, way they have it. I mean, I guess I don't have any other options. So, but if you get there like 8:40-ish, you'll probably get stuck for players walking by and you have to wait. And that's what happened to me, like 8:50. And so once that was done, then you can walk straight across and get in the bleachers, and I was able to walk right in. But on Monday, I got there late, like 8:50 maybe, and then I was with my nephew, so we just like looked at the games and stuff. And then at that point, there was like lines to get into the tents, so like it was like 20, 30 minutes to get in the tent. So then we just kept playing games, and we got in the lines like when I knew the first team drills would be over because people would come out, and then we got in there. So it's yeah, it's not that bad, but like probably get there early. But if you get right up there and you get caught by that line, as long as you just cross right away and get in, you're good. If you have friends that are there, you can tell them to save you a spot. Um, and then also too, it's like a guessing game. There's like 3 or 4 lines, like this 20 or the midfield or the end. But then you just don't know where a team's going to be that day, if it's on this end or that end. So it's kind of just a luck of the draw when you're there for your review. But it's not that bad. Engineer says Higgins catches everything thrown his way. LOL. Fisher falls starting today. Made me feel like a disappointed dad. Yeah, and so I suspect with Fisher too, it's like, maybe he had a bad offseason, maybe he didn't take it serious, but like any athlete, like when things start to go bad, like it can just like get away from you. So hopefully he snaps out of it. Yeah, Simmons punched a teammate today, so that was crazy. Christian, yo, it's been a while. Titan TF up. That's my Titan friend. This guy was all about Will Levis, and I told him last year that Will Levis is garbage. I said they should tank and get Cam Ward, and now he's the biggest Cam Ward fan, so you're welcome. Texans on 3, my guys. I hopped on their show earlier for a little bit. That was a good time talking back and forth. He says we blessing. Make sure y'all subscribe and follow my guy. We appreciate you. Likewise for them, Texans on 3 podcast, X, YouTube. They do a great job, man. Their show is very fun and interactive. Engineer, I've noticed some reps. Higgins is getting Stingley on some routes. Yeah, and like I've noticed too, like his frame is a factor. Like that ball today, that there was like a corner route where he was kind of covered by Sting, but he had the length, and CJ kind of threw him like a jump ball, like floated it. And that's when Petrie came in and smacked him in the mouth. But he went up and got it, was going to come down with it. And then Petrie came from underneath and got him. But his size has been utilized. He caught a nice go route on the sideline on the other side coming out of a drill where they were backed up on the 1. Went up and got it. Like big physical receiver. Like that's something we haven't had. Like Nico is good at high pointing the ball, and I guess he's a good jump ball guy, but like it's different. Like Higgins, like I don't know what it is, but like he's able to like go up and use his body. It's crazy. Edward Taylor, Angel Torres, how can I get in contact with you with a ticket? Let them know. Nosh says Ward had a tough day at camp today. Cam Ward did. I suspect that with the rookie, King Colby. I saw someone saying Higgins is having problems separating from Sting and Lasser. That can't be true. I mean, it could be, but like somebody like him, given his size, even if he does have trouble separating, he can still win with his size. Like he can be open when he's not open. And then let's see, C-Staff on TikTok with Mixon likely to miss some time. I do not agree with that. He won't miss. I think he'll be fine week 1. Who's looking like the bell cow, Chubb or Marks? I mean, I think Mixon will be fine, but I think it would be Chubb and Marks and Jawar. It'd be a RB by committee. Let's see. We'll keep going through. Someone said Super Bowl in the IG chat. And let's see what else we missed. Billy Wagner got inducted to the Hall of Fame. Let's go. And then just keep scrolling. Here's Kalen Bullock talking about the Texans secondary. He was asked if they could be one of the best.
The best, not one of the best. I think we got the best secondary in the NFL. We got guys everywhere from depth. I think we got the best depth, and every guy who names get called up, they're going to step up and make a play.
What have you seen? Let them know, man. Like, talk your shit. Like, it's facts. And the depth he said, like, it's crazy. You got Kalen, you got CJ GJ, and then you got Jimmy Ward who could come back, and then you got Petrie, Nickel, you got Sting, Kamari, you got Jalen Smith, Jaden Reed. I mean, the depth is crazy. Arthur Mollett, like, what, bro? Miles Bryant is not bad, dude. Crazy depth. Let's see here. Keep scrolling. Keep scrolling. What? And I'm just kind of going through the timeline talking so it's not dead air. Shout out if you listen to on the podcast. If you ever get on here and want to catch back up, Apple, Spotify, search Second Guessing with Stress and Podcasts. Kind of, listen as you please. So that's kind of like why I like to do this. And like, I know everybody likes stuff different. Like I want to like show the audio and verbalize everything so you can just get caught up. Yeah, so we're kind of going back through. So Harris hasn't practiced yet. And, the O line has been for the past 2-3 days, it's been left tackle Cam Robinson, which, by the way, just a random observation for me is like he's freaking massive. Like he stands out as a big guy. Left guard has been Laken Tomlinson. Center has been the only position lately that's been, having a competition that's foreseeable by, rotation, which it is Jarrett Patterson and Jake Andrews are kind of just flip flopping. And then at right guard, Titus got that locked down. And then Fisher was, running with the ones initially, but the past 2-3 days he's been out. It's been Ursary, and he's been holding his own. So that's kind of been the main one there. And so right now this timeline is going through the first day of padded practice. Tank was there again with Andre Johnson. And here's your boy with the If They Ain't With Houston shirt. If you want one, hit up the site. I'm about to make some more merch. That's the Will Anderson Jr. shirt. I'm about to make a couple more, and I got a sale going if you enter promo code Blessing. And then what else we got? Kind of just scroll through. I think mostly video will be on here. So here's a video from Harley. Shout out Harley. It's the lead _ Hugh, HOU, on X. So this was like a little angle route to Cade Stover, but my takeaway was I've noticed we've run a lot of like bunch sets and trio, like 3 receivers, and that's good because based off the defense that they're running man, you can kind of use the guys in front of you for like a natural pick to get a free release. But my takeaway was, I think I tweeted earlier, we'll probably see it, was there was a nickel blitz from Miles Bryant. We ran a condensed formation. You bring in a defender, and now he blitzes. Last year they did that, and we'd freak out, and we didn't know who to block, and we didn't have hot routes. He wouldn't turn around and catch the ball. I don't know if this was already the route for Schultz being an angle route. I suspect it was he had the ability to adjust his route, which is the way it should be. If your guy or your area vacates, turn your freaking head around. So that's basically what he does. He's out of the way. So, okay, he leaves, middle of the field open. I'm going to break there. Boom, ball. That's it. And so that was cool for me to see. Like that got me hype. And so like a lot of stuff you don't realize when it happens, you kind of have to go back again and watch it. But yeah, Graham Mertz threw a pass to Daniel Jackson. I think he's solid. Xavier Hutchinson's actually not doing bad. He had a nice one-handed catch on the sideline today. That's him with one yesterday. I kind of like personally was like not that high on Hutch last year, but he played great in that Chiefs game when everybody was down. I don't think he's like, a world beater receiver, but I think he's a viable, solid receiver. And I think he can be productive in this offense where it's a big physical offense. He's a bigger body. He's kind of making these bigger body possession catches. So I think, I'm personally back higher on him than what I was. I didn't really voice that I wasn't super high on him, but I think he's solid. I think he's a solid backup receiver for Nico right now. We got 3 big body receivers. We got 4. We got 4 big receivers. We have, I need to look this up. I think I have not even thought about this until now, but let's see. Let me go to Texans roster. Let's see if they have the height and weight on here, but I think we have 4 6'3" and taller receivers. And that would be Nico, Higgins, Hutch, Watson. And so that's where I kind of got thrown away. Like I was hyper focused. Like normally you have like a big X receiver. Like all those guys are like the X build. But I think they kind of like the 2X where like the Z on the other side is a bigger body guy. I think that's what they like. They like the big. It's kind of what New England did. I guess I'm realizing this. Like New England, liked the big receivers and then the small shifty receivers. Like they didn't really have a lot of the Z receivers, which were the hybrid. It was like, we can kill you with freaking underneath quickness, or we can overly physically overpower you with big receivers. That's kind of like what it was. But yeah, it shows the height and weight. So let's just look at it real quick. Let me share this instead. And so we're looking at Justin Watson, 6'2", 215. That's a pretty big receiver. And so I think he'll be the backup receiver behind Higgins. And let's see, keep going down. And Hutch, 6'3", 210. That's a big receiver. Jaden Higgins, 6'4", 215. That's a big receiver. So Watson, he looks big too out there today. And by the way, he had a pretty good practice today. He had some good catches. But I mean, he's the same weight, just a little bit shorter, 215. So that's a sturdy guy. And then Nico, which is, where the heck's Nico? 6'4", 222. Like, those are some big MFers, bro. Like, this is, so I don't know if I finished this thought earlier. I guess I said earlier, like, this is what D'Amico wants. He now has an offense to complement his defense, which is, the mindset on defense has been physical attack. Now the offense is doing that. We're not finesse BS. Like, no, it's like we're coming here to, I don't know what I'm going to say. Coming here to, make an impact. Let's see. And so, yeah, I was talking about tight ends, and I kind of realized this too. Stover last year played a lot of fullback. I don't know if I mentioned that in the tight end room. So it was his rookie year, and he got thrust into a fullback / H-back role, which is kind of out of position for him, even though he's a versatile player. But now if he actually plays tight end, I'm curious to see what they do for a fullback. I think Jacob Johnson, how you say his name, will probably make the roster. Like, we haven't kept a true fullback. We didn't keep one last year. We decided not to keep Beck. And even then, Beck the year before, wasn't a world beater. But we decided not to keep a fullback last year. And we kept British Brooks as the fullback. But then he got hurt. And then we're kind of like, after that, we're trying to like put tight ends at fullback. And it never worked. And an offense, the Shanahan offense is supposed to have a good fullback, like Juszczyk, Ingold with the Dolphins. Like, all those guys had a legit fullback. So I think we keep a legit fullback. I think Jacob Johnson has a good chance of making the roster because of that. Maybe they could keep a. So this is like, I was just thinking, like, what are they going to do? Are they going to keep Brooks as that fullback again? Are they going to, keep the tight ends and make them like the hybrid fullback? I did see Jacob Johnson. Someone tell me, is it Jacob or Jacob? But anyways, I know he's from like Europe or something or somewhere out there. But I saw him out there in first team rep when they did a drill at the end team. It was like the opposite of red zone where you're coming out of your own one to get off the goal line, to free up. We ran heavy personnel with the fullback with Jacob Johnson. I can't know how to say his name. So that's something to think about. A couple comments to get caught up on today. Shit, my guy Lance. Let's go, man. Miss you, bro. Lance Shepard, G, what's good? That's my guy. How you doing, man? You blessing? And so let's see what we saw here. Christian says was a rough day, first day in pads for Cam, but he's going to put in the work, no doubt. Yeah, it's part of it, bro. I think he'll be fine. Engineer Daniel Jackson was a very nice UDFA pickup. Facts, man. I don't know if we'll be able to keep him on the practice squad. I really hope we do. Nosh says 10 days until Texans football is back. Lego. Nosh says, how is Robinson's run blocking? Again, I haven't really been able to see and haven't keyed on the O-line, so I would be lying if I sat here and said this guy's doing this really well. I can just speak generally from what I observed today is that the offense looked good. They ran the ball and they protected well. So overall, and basically all three lines look pretty decent. I don't know how they specifically doing it. So that's why I can't wait for preseason. I can actually sit there and watch the film and then give you my opinion. Engineer, I didn't see Noel today. Is he good? Yeah, he was out there. I saw him like in special teams. And we talked about this in the space. I made this point in Jacob's space earlier, but like with receiver and skill guys, like we like to proclaim certain guys as having a good day based off production, which is great. But sometimes these guys may not do anything different, and they just don't get the ball thrown to them. You could be running the same routes, getting open, and no balls get thrown to you. And so we shouldn't mistake someone's lack of production for them sucking. Like Nico hasn't gotten a lot of production in camp. Who gives a shit? That doesn't mean he's been sucking. Maybe it's my opinion is, they got Sting on them and probably shading over if they are in a zone or, cover one man free, trying to take him away. And this is all good things because this is shit we're going to see this season. Like, okay, they're going to try and take away Nico. All right, now what are you going to do? You're going to focus on the tight end. You're going to focus on Kirk. You're going to focus on Higgins. But yeah, so I don't think that Nico not getting the ball is necessarily Sting shutting him down. I think it could be some of that. It's probably 50-50 with him and Sting winning reps. It's probably just like, hey, we're just not going to look that way. And it's probably, he's getting help too on top of that. So it's important for us to know if a guy doesn't catch the ball, it doesn't mean he sucks. And so, like, yeah, Noel, you're like, where was he at today? Like, he was practicing. I think he just didn't get any balls thrown to him. And sometimes it just turns out like, I saw this guy open, boom, I hit that, or you're not in the read. Like, and also it's not a ton of reps. I mean, especially for these ones, they go 3, 4, 5 reps at a time. Like, it's very quick and it's not a lot. Like, when we used to go through 2-a-days, bro, like, we would get our ass running the dirt. Like, I would run so many fucking plays. And this shit looks like it's not like it's just work smarter, not harder. And it's tough to get a rhythm too. So you see like little bursts of 2, 3 reps at a time, and we want to like sit there and overanalyze, like, bro, like it's only a couple reps. Like in a game, you get 30, 40 snaps. So we're gonna sit here like, oh, the offense sucked today. Like, the offense sucked in 7-on-7 today. Okay, they had like 4 or 5 total snaps for the first team. It's like, okay, if they did bad on 3 of them, that's terrible. Like that's, you have no time to make up for it. But I mean, it is what we have to go off of. I'm not, I'm guilty of it myself. Brandon says, as a joke, you should make the shirt "No Mercy Ursery Arion T-shirt." That's a good one. Brandon's got the wit. King Colby, Jared Wayne is a big body too. Yeah, did I put up his weight show up on there? Jared Wayne. Yeah, Jared Wayne is a big body. I didn't realize that. Jared Wayne, pause, is a big body, 6'3", 210. So we have a type. And so somebody like Mechie is that tweener. He's like the Z type profile, 6 foot 195. But after that, Christian Kirk, 5'11", 200, shorter, stout. Jalen Noel, 5'11", 200, shorter, stout. So they're the same guy. That's crazy. Higgins, Nico, same guy, same height, same weight. Noel, Christian Kirk, same height, same weight. Yeah, so that's crazy. Just kind of realizing that. Looking at the other ones, Daniel Jackson, 6 foot 195. But yeah, so they definitely value size. And then Barrios, 5'9", 185. Yeah, Nico, Higgins, Hutch, Hail Mary would go crazy. That's Brandon Hallam. I didn't even think about that, dude. Just a Hail Mary. We could run every play. Hey, go down there and just tip it to each other. That's insane. King Coley, but I haven't heard a lot of him in camp. Of Jalen Noel, or who are you talking about? Jared Wayne, yeah. I think he was out for a practice or two. And, I think he's someone who's not bad, bro. Like, I think he's gotten this negative, persona or paint on him because of, like, the Tank Dell injury, which I think it was just him trying to make a play. And, he should have realized that wasn't his ball and backed off. And then he got thrust into a role of like trying to like produce too. And it's tough too when these guys come up and like you're not getting reps all year. And then now you get thrust in and you're supposed to, have this chemistry. I think he's not bad. So Lance Shepard, 6'4", 222, SMH, that's crazy. Yeah, dude, it's crazy. And then King Colby, damn, Kate is 251 in open space. That would be scary for DB. Sheesh, we stacked and loaded. Yeah, so K's that true tight end. And then Luke Lachey, dude, to me, he is like a low risk, high reward, late draft pick. We can take our time with him. I just worry about guys like him if they don't make the team, if we don't lose them, if they're able to stay on practice squad. Like I'm blanking right now if they have to clear. I'm pretty sure they have to clear waivers first before you can stash them. But guys like him and Daniel Jackson, like Luke Lachey is 6'6", 247, but like that guy can beef up. He's got a big frame. Brevin Jordan, 6'3", 245. So he's like a smaller tight end, but his speed is insane at that position. So that's unique. Dalton Schultz, 6'5", 242. And then Cade Stover, 6'4", 251. So Luke Lachey has the ability to like put on some muscle. If he's 6'6", 260, 260, that guy could be a unit, dude. And thank you, Brandon. It's like Jakob. I knew it was something like that. So sorry, Jakob Johnson. It's not Jacob Johnson. Justin Friedman, can't wait for preseason. Appreciate you, brother. I agree, man. We're so close. Mr. Optimistic, Jay Silent, Jakob. Yep, I'm an idiot. Jose Apina, is the O-line performing good? Yes, they are. They did good in pads the past 2 days, and the best day was probably today. Brandon, we need every pronunciation of J on our roster. LOL. Yeah, we got a lot of J's, dude. Houston Jays. Nosh, it would be interesting to see if the defense can keep dual QBs in check. Running quarterbacks. That's a great. I mean, we've kind of always struggled with running quarterbacks, honestly. And then, yep, Daniel Jackson is a stud. Trying to get to all the comments on all the other ones, so sorry if I'm not, hitting all of them, but appreciate you guys. So scroll back through the timeline. And then when I went to practice, I noticed that Jalen Noel was explosive yesterday in punt return. He, it's just a drill, but I noticed like his wiggle. And then here's Kalen Bullock right here. See, this was yesterday as a PBU. Kalen Bullock has been a ball hawk, dude. He's been balling. And so, when CJ was on the pivot, CJ Gardner-Johnson, he talked about, when he was on the Saints, like he talked about like this, persona of him. What am I getting paused for? Tell me what I said. Was it, what am I pausing for? I missed it. It's tough when it's just me. But I think about what I say before I say it, because I'm the kind of guy that laughs at stuff like that too. But it's tough when you're talking a lot and talking fast. But anyways, when CJ Gardner-Johnson was on the pivot, he talked about he was, never always like this crazy, like, type of demeanor on the field, like, I don't know what the word is, like fiery guy. He said like when he went to the Saints, like that was the culture, and like Sean Payton like challenged him, and like then like the older guys, and like they taught him like, all right, you flip a switch and like act like a freaking madman on the field. And then he said when he was in Detroit, he did that for them with the young guys, Kirby Joseph and somebody else. And like he highlighted like the Chiefs game. He's like, hey, like I would just play them watching the Super Bowl. Like they're not what you think they are. Like if you think we are what we are, like you can't be scared of these guys. Like they're gettable. Like they're not like this and that. And so like that attitude, that confidence, that, physicality, aggression, whatever you want to call it. So he mentioned that. And then as soon as we got CJ Gardner-Johnson, the first things that D'Amico said is like, I can't wait to see how this helps Kalen Bullock. And so obviously that's going to be, the mental side of it, coverages, tricks and trays, tendencies, how to be like instinctual, this and that. But it's also probably part of this mentality, this crash out stuff we're talking about, like teaching him to turn into a psycho. So now Kalen Bullock's got range. He's got getting the mental down, and now he's going to be like he has the ability, he can hit. And so like now if he becomes that guy too, whew, that was kind of like observation I had on that. But yeah, so Darrell Taylor was shaken up, but he was back. I think Aaron said it might have been an ankle. That was Monday. He's been having a great camp. Darrell Taylor, he's a stock up guy. I've been high on him. Underrated signing. DN from the Bears. Great pass rusher. And then let's see what else we got. Yeah, so Stroud hit Stover on this play here. I thought it was pretty cool. It's like called a slither concept. So it's going to be a play action boot, fake run to the left, roll out, and then Stover had motion to the left and then slip back under. It's called slither because here's the O-line and you run under them for a natural pick. And then while he did that, a rusher came. He was unblocked, and the rusher was about to go for Stroud. And this is great coaching and execution. Stover went at him like he's going to block him to freeze him, and then released. And then the guy's kind of stuck in no man's land and just drop a little teardrop over his head. So the play calling, I like it. Let's see what else we got. Yeah, so the O-line, Laken Tomlinson, Juice Scruggs, Jalen Thomas, Ladarius Henderson, we're all getting extra work after practice on Monday. Interior O-line guys, that's encouraging to see. Yeah, and Mechie had a bounce back day on Monday, and he did again today. And yeah, like I said, Stover was out there getting extra work. And yeah, here's a play of Schultz yesterday. Corner route. To me, this is a dime of a pass by Stroud. dropping the bucket on Henry Teague. Pretty good coverage, dude. Keep scrolling. Here's a play that was to, let's see. Jalen Noel had a big day on Monday. Yeah, so, I mean, we got weapons, bro. We got weapons. And that's what I was saying, that the approach feels different on the O-line this year, accountability. And let's see what else we got. Here's a touchdown to Jaden Higgins. Trio bunch set. And then you have these guys, you got all this mess. And so the DBs kind of got guys everywhere, and it kind of creates a muck, and you're able to get a free release. And Higgins' guys falls down. He's a corner in the red zone, which kind of turns into an out. Open. CJ hits him. This is Monday still. Jawar Jordan had a good day Monday. He had a good day today. And then here's what I was talking about earlier on the Joe Mixon stuff. I'm not concerned about it. Here's D'Amico talking about it right here.
Yeah, nothing's changed with Joe. Joe is still working, in the background. I know we get reports about Joe. Nothing's changed. He's still working. Whenever it's time for Joe to be back, he'll be back. Right? I know a lot of people want to report a lot of things about guys with injuries. My thing is this: are you really concerned about our guys? Or are you really just trying to get something out there, right? And for me, I always put my players' health and safety first and foremost. So I care about the guys, so you guys don't hear me talking a lot about injuries, because that's their personal information. Guys are working through that, and there's nothing to report or get in an uproar about. Like, our guys are working, and it's always sensitive to me because I've been there. I've went through that. So it's not just to report something. Like, I want people here who truly care about our guys. I care about our guys.
So first, I feel like he's talking about Ian Rappaport, or maybe it's just generic. But then he kind of sends messaging to the reporters. And it's tough too, because as a reporter, that's your job. People want to know injuries, like betting, fantasy, whatever, fans. But I get his side of it. But then he kind of seems like he's sending a message. Like he said, in here, I want guys so I don't know if that's what he's trying to do, but let's see.
And to report something, I want people here who truly care about our guys. I care about our guys and what they're doing throughout their process, and it'll continue to be that way.
And so I don't know if that was a way for him to kind of, and I don't think our local reporters are too bad. I mean, they kind of ask the normal questions, but they're not bad at all, in that regard. I think, the Rappaport thing, he just, wanted buzz and just shot it out there, and then it took off like wildfire. So, but yeah, he said nothing's changed. It's the same shit. But then Rappaport reports it, and what happened? Now he's worse. No, he just is late to the party and just regurgitates what Aaron Wilson said, but in a different, wrong manner. And it kind of gets worse from there. So, yeah, it's pretty frustrating. But Nico was on Rich Eisen's show, and this is something we've talked about, but Nico obviously is overrated, or no, he is very underrated. I'm sorry. And a big reason why, there's multiple reasons. I think the quarterback play initially, he was somewhat of a project pick, height, weight, speed guy, not a lot of production. But as he points out, it's because the COVID year. But it's a very humble answer, because he's asked by Rich Eisen if he feels like he's overlooked. And rather than say, yeah, I'm overlooked, he just says maybe just provides an example why people overlooked him. He's such a humble dude.
Look then, Nico.
It was around that time. It was a crazy situation. It was COVID. So actually they canceled the Big Ten. So I had no choice but to opt out. I came back to my senior year. I was looking forward to coming back my senior year in Michigan. But kind of had no choice. I had to end my career early. And I had to go prepare for the draft. But I feel like, man, throughout that process, man, it was hard. It was weird, crazy timing, but I had the Senior Bowl to go out, and show the scouts what I can do. And I knew it was a gamble, just opting out, and the Big Ten did end up bringing back, I think, 4 games, but it was kind of too late for me because I signed with an agent and I couldn't come back, to college. So it was kind of, a rough path for me. So it was only right for me to go to the Senior Bowl, and show the scouts what I've been doing. I had that opportunity and I had the pro day. pro day was at Michigan, so it was great to go back to school, man, seeing all the coaches, and have all 32 teams come out, and watch us have pro day, So that was my only opportunity to, show the teams what I've been doing, because I didn't have film that year, because I opted out. So I feel like, man, I took a gamble, rolled the dice, man, but at the end of the day, man, I got picked. That's everybody's dream.
And you have made
Yeah, so that's why. And then he's still been overlooked because of that, because he wasn't some highly touted first round pick. And it's also because, in my opinion, he's quiet. He's humble. He's not ever talking shit and doing all this stuff, which is fine. But he's underrated as hell. Milo, best Batman on IG. Biggest thing about training camp, in my opinion, is CJ working against this unreal defense. Iron sharpens iron. Facts. And we'll get to it too here eventually. But Kaylee is also being sharpened by D'Amico, as far as play calling too. So. Lance was going to ask about the play calling. Yeah, I think the play calling's been good, man. And also in this interview too, it's on YouTube, and all these videos I put on my site. If you go to my HoustonStressens.com and media, I aggregate all the videos embedded through YouTube. So if you're looking for Texans content, just go on my site. It's all on there. But he was asked about Kaylee's offense, and this time he said it was basically the same. And prior, when he was asked, he said that one time, and the next time he said it's the same, but it's not the same. And I feel like he's just a nice guy and doesn't want to say it's different for people to find a way to shit on Slowick. That's just me, what I think, but maybe it is similar. But I just feel like he's just a nice guy, and he's very cognizant of what he says. And he tries not to defame people, which is super respectable, bro. Most big receivers would be nah, he sucks and da da da. He's nah, he's a good dude. So mad respect for him, but this one's super cool here. My guy Chancellor, I met him today in person when I met DJ. But this is him and Jonathan Alexander, also a friend of the show. I'll hopefully meet him in person sometime soon. But they were doing their recap after practice, and they got a special guest.
Come join us. We rolling.
Yeah,
we're talking. We're talking
exclusive.
Yeah, we're talking best case scenario for the Houston Texans this year. What's the best case scenario?
I understand. Did y'all want to be in the sun for this?
I'm burning.
Since I'm a dark brother, I need the lighting. The lighting hits me right in the face. So I'm.
Yeah, your eyes are. Your skin's glowing.
I appreciate that. That's a sunscreen. How are you enjoying training camp so far? Yeah. How are you enjoying training camp so far?
It's fun.
It's hot.
I think our secondary is really showcasing their talents.
Best defense in the league this year, potentially?
I don't like to make predictions, but I think they're the best.
What did you get D'Amico Ryans for his birthday? Come on, Hannah. What'd you get him?
I don't know if I could share that.
Okay. All right, well, how about this? On his birthday, what's your favorite thing about D'Amico Ryans?
Oh, gosh, his leadership. It's natural, it's authentic, and he truly cares about every single person in that building. He's a family vibe, and he lives it.
Well, fucking Kyle come rolling up in the golf cart. Look at it.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. Hey, you gotta drive. This isn't mine, is it?
No, not at all. No, you're good.
Your ride is here.
Guys, look at these lawn chairs.
I asked Hannah, since it's D'Amico Ryans' birthday, what's your favorite thing about D'Amico Ryans?
Let's get him in the camera. Hold on, I'll get him in the shot. There we go. There we go.
Favorite thing about D'Amico is that he's here. He's our coach.
Good answer. Thanks, Cal.
Oh, fucking Cal. That's dope.
Come join us. We rolling.
Yeah, that's a good improv. He was slick with it. That was smooth. Ethan Weber, shout out Ethan. He gave me a ticket. I've been giving away tickets, and I've been giving away my own tickets on accident. But he gave me one. Came through. He says, I thought Agun Bawale looked like he was running real fast. I didn't even really pay attention to him, but he's serviceable. And then he says, and Braxton Berrios looked good on kick returns. Facts. I noticed that today too. The first one he did was a touchdown, but they only worked on the inside. And then he had another one too where he had wiggle. So that's why I've been preaching Berrios. This dude was a former All-Pro kick returner, and they changed the rules this year on kick return. Where it used to go to 20 or 25 on touchbacks or something like that. And now it's further. So basically, they're trying to encourage more returns. They went from, to the new kickoff, the XFL kickoff. and then they thought that would, encourage more returns, but then everyone just kicked it out of bounds or out of touchback. So then they changed it, and now they are trying to increase the returns, and like that provides a lot of. So like now, if most kicks will be returned, Braxton Berrios is super valuable. So yeah, that's a good point. I noticed that as well. Nelly's Pros. Is anyone a little worried about Ime? He missed some big kicks last year for us. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things like you can't really be comfortable until it happens. Like he could make kicks all year, but if we go on the road in a playoff game in the cold and the wind, we're going to be scared. But I think he's solid, but hopefully we have home field. So thanks for tuning in. Optimistic. We'll see you later. Engineer. His story is kind of similar to Higgins with the COVID year. Yeah. So Higgins kind of got overlooked, I guess, because he missed a year with COVID. And then Lance says Nico Andre 2.0 facts. And so this time last year, CJ Stroud said Nico Collins is our generation's Andre Johnson. And I said, I agree 1,000%. Everyone freaking laughed. Everyone's like, oh. Nah, bro. Like, yeah, now it's like, okay, like he's the same height. He's the same speed. He's a freak. He's a humble beast. Plays for the Texans. Yes, I agree. Jacob Johnson. I said Jacob Johnson. My bad. Oh, let's go. Texans Jacob, we here. That's my guy. We had fun today, man. And we're on, if you want to, on my timeline, it might be pinned. Even the stream today, like you can kind of see stuff, but like you got some commentary, a lot of the same thoughts. But if you want like the actual like analysis from what we're watching in real time, it was on there. So, all right. Seth Payne's going to be doing a podcast with Cecil Shorts. That'll be good to listen to. And then here's Brevin Jordan on Tank Dell.
How important was it to you to make sure that even though that you were going through your rehab, that you were around this team, still supporting this team, still being in the rooms? And how have you given that advice to Tank Dell?
Tank is my guy. First of all, that dude right there is a trooper, a soldier, man. That dude is working his tail off. He's rehabbing like crazy, and I'm excited to see him come back because I tell him all the time, bro, like, yeah, we got different injuries, but I'm better right now. I'm faster, I'm stronger. My quad and my knee feels unbelievable. If he comes back from that injury, he's going to be 10 steps ahead. I'm excited to see him come back. I just tell him every day, just keep going. I got tatted on my leg that says keep going every day. So it's just a steady process. The journey is the reward. It's never about an end goal. It's always about
the journey is the reward. Yeah, like sometimes on an injury, like you can get better overall because you're working on little muscles to, help support that. And, you could come back better. Like before you kind of neglect that stuff. So that's a good point there. And I'm just kind of analyzing some stuff. Oh, look, here's Jacob's stuff. He talked about PFF released their WAR numbers for quarterbacks in the 24-25. And Stroud came in tied for 8th with Mahomes. And yeah, like he was saying, like that's supposed to be a sophomore slump, and given those conditions, that sounds good. That sounds right. I agree. And then just kind of analyze that. And so definitely, the run game looked better when the pads came on. So here's D'Amico talking about that.
And you can see our running backs really running the football, how it will look, playing physical behind their pass. I thought those guys, Chubb did a really good job today with a couple runs, also Jawar. So, and our defense as well.
So basically he's saying with pads on, it's going to look different, and they run behind their pads. So it's true. It looks different. But I mean, it's tough. We get excited and we only watch what we got. So let's see here. Keep going up. Yeah. Here's a highlight of who's catching this. Yeah, that's the Higgins touchdown for another angle. And then Brevin Jordan. Let's see if we can find another. Jawar Jordan with a nice run. Boom. This is still from Monday. Here's something I thought was pretty cool. Oh, man, this thing got likes. When I posted it, it had like no likes. I was like, I thought this was interesting. I guess it got some likes. So on the Texans YouTube, John Harris with Henry To'oTo'o, they were doing like word association with the linebackers. And it was like Aziz, Harris, he's like dog. But I clipped the part for the guys that are kind of overlooked. Obviously, I've already told about EJ Speed, but he talked about Jamal Hill, Nick Neiman, and Jake Hansen.
Walking this way, second year Jamal Hill.
My boy Scooby.
I'm putting him under the dog too, but he unique. He's one of those unicorns.
Okay, you got new people in the room. Nick Neiman.
Nick Neiman. Ooh, Nick is special, because he's very long, lengthy.
Yeah.
He's faster than people think, and he can make plays.
Okay, Jake Hansen, been around for a little bit.
Jake Hansen, that's the hard worker right there. He's a hard worker. He's gonna do the dirty work, go out there and punch a guy in the mouth.
Okay, linebacker.
And so, I had the realization that, like, I feel like the tight end room and the linebacker room are kind of similar in the sense that, like, they're somewhat underrated. Like, the depth at linebacker is pretty damn good. Like, so Jamal Hill was like a late round draft pick last year, calls him a unicorn. We forget about Jamal Hill. He was a defensive back, converted to linebacker, only been playing linebacker for a couple of years. So he's long and rangy, a little bit slimmer, but he's fast. So, like, that's kind of how the NFL has evolved into these, oversized defensive backs now playing linebacker. And so he's a development piece. Like, if he catches on, he's now in year 2 under D'Amico. He could be the Christian Harris type if that doesn't come to fruition. Nick Neiman, like, his length and faster than people think. I mean, he kind of reminds me of, like, he could be a Blake Cashman type. Like, you have these guys that are journeyman special teamers and bounce around. Blake Cashman. And then it happened with the Eagles with Zach Braun. Obviously, he was all pro, but, like, I'm just saying, like, I'm not proclaiming these guys are this and that. I'm just saying, like, there could be some there. And I want to say, too, like, with me and Jacob, we noticed, we ran some 4-3 today to match up when the offense ran team off of the one to match up with the heavy personnel with the fullback. And I feel like Neiman was the third linebacker in there. I'm pretty sure he was. I think he's 32. Let me check the roster real quick. Let me see if I can go by number. I'm looking at my other tab. Nick Neiman. Nick Neiman was in the 4-3. He was the third linebacker. So, I've been saying EJ Speed, but Nick Neiman could be a guy that kind of gets stuff too. So, and Lance Seppard says Hill can rush the passer too. Yeah, I mean, if he's a developmental piece and all of a sudden he catches on, and obviously I get giddy and excited. But I like to, like, point out things that we kind of, like, look over and, I may be kind of overhyping it. But here's Nick Chubb talking about Nick Caley.
Yeah, I tell you, Nick, he's very smart and he's super intelligent. He loves ball. He's always thinking of the next play, and it's been great to work with him.
It's funny, like, when you watch these interviews, like, some guys are great. You ask them a question, give you a cool, like, CJ is the best interview ever. Like, it's got to be so fun for these guys to ask him questions. But guys like Stover today, he's just like, next question. But, like, it's like their personality, like, they're just, very direct, matter of fact. Chubb's kind of like that too. It's, like, hard to get any, like, good sound bites out of them. There's Daniil Hunter's like that. But then, like, CJ and Will, they're both like, they'll give you quotes, they'll do some of that. Like, Aziz is really good. He's insightful. He gives you, like, insightful answers. It's just funny how you kind of notice that. I thought the Sheldon Rankins interview was great. It was great to get to introduce to him and learn about him. So here's a clip from Landry. Shout out Landry. He asked him a question. It's a great question about the culture when he was with the Texans in 22 as opposed to now.
From the start of D'Amico to now walking in year 3, what's the biggest difference you see walking here now as compared to when you first started?
The culture's set now. Obviously, new coach comes in, working overtime to try to get his identity imprinted within the framework of the team and getting the team to function without him having to, say every little thing over and over again. So I think, obviously coming back, same quarterback leading the team, and then defense, a lot of continuity. His culture is set, so I think, it's easy to kind of get back in here and honestly kind of fill my role like I did last time and then and just get back to playing ball.
I was very impressed with his interview, and we'll keep going through the clips, but he's an impressive human being. So on IG, we got a question, SS Kilo, if you got any NFL player to join the Texans, who would it be? I guess it's like anybody. You got to pick. I wanted Saquon last year. Give me any of the best guard or center. Or, I would take that's a tough question. Yeah, I think defense is good. Any of the best guards or center, and I'm good. Sheldon Rank. Yeah, so I talked about, I used to think culture was overrated, and D'Amico's built it, but it also shows too, like it takes time to build that culture and foundation that you want, like through the draft, essentially, and like each year you stack on it. So Sheldon Rankins has noticed that difference, like and with each year it'll get better and better, and it will be more and more solidified as like a sustained successful team. Like it'll be hard for it won't be as volatile. We'll have that solid core, and I think we're there now. And then he was talking. This was pretty cool. He kind of opened up about last year missing time with the Bengals.
I won't too much deep dive into it. I kind of hit on, I guess the biggest one that kind of took me out of playing, which was I ended up having a shingles outbreak and viral meningitis at the same time, and that kind of knocked me out for a while. So a lot of people don't know, and a lot of people thought what type of illness or what type of thing could have someone out for this long, and a lot of people don't know I was literally laying horizontal in my house, in a dark house, for probably about a month and a half before I could really even sit up without feeling kind of crazy. So went through all that. Throughout the process of that, I started the season last year probably around 300 pounds. By the end of dealing with all of that, along with some other things, I was probably down to 255. So lost all my strength, lost all the weight, power. Even by the time I played my last game, November 7th against Baltimore, I was low 270s, high 260s. So wasn't myself last year, and by the grace of God, I'm able to still come out here and compete and do things at a high level. So I worked my ass off this whole season to ensure not only physically that I could come out here and play, but mentally I was past a lot of the stuff, and health-wise internally, that I was able to kind of check things off my list and get back to feeling great, because I know when I feel great I can be a difference maker.
I didn't realize he went through all that, and like Primo looks, shingles is rough. I've never had it obviously, but having that and meningitis at the same time, and then he kind of like alludes to like some other stuff, like I'm sure like maybe it's a side effect, like the mental side of it, like depression may kick in. Like I can't imagine, he said laying horizontal in a dark room for a month and a half. But yeah, SS Kilo on IG says, yeah, we need better align. If we keep building off our team and not trading, I think we'll have a good look at the ring. I would say we're doing pretty good as the young team. Yeah. And so, the way they draft too, like, I'm someone who likes need.
I won't,
but Casario, this draft, somewhat was need, but you could argue it was kind of BPA, best player available, which that can kind of over time, keep and sustain a better roster. So, but I think the foundation is solid, bro. And this was Sheldon Rankins posted by Cole Thompson. Shout out Cole. I saw Cole today too. Let's see.
When you were a free agent last offseason, did anybody from the Texans reach out to you from the defensive line? And when did you start to realize that a reunion was potentially possible with this team?
Yeah, listen, when everything kind of went the way it went with Cincinnati, when my agent called me to kind of, obviously, going through what I was going through health-wise, the question had to be posed, did I want to continue to play, and did I want to work to even get back? And obviously, I wanted to continue to play, and he's like, okay, so what you thinking? I made it simple. Get me to Houston. Yeah, I made it real simple for him. I said, get me to Houston, make the phone call, make it work. If that don't work out, we'll figure something else out. But get me to Houston, and the rest is history, honestly.
It's like a song. Get me to Houston. Were a free agent. Love it. Yeah, so that speaks on D'Amico's culture, He said, get me to Houston. He knows what it's like. And then let's see here. Sheldon Rankins. Let's play this clip.
Back out here, running around in this heat. Back to playing in a defense I love playing in, that fits me, fits my skill set. I feel like I've continued to ascend, whether it's my pass rush repertoire, being able to. I've always kind of been a guy that's able to, high football IQ, be able to identify things on the fly, help guys get lined up, amidst the chaos, and and kind of call things on the fly, whether I see something, like I said, whether it's giving Will a look, telling Tim something. And then, just continuing to work on strength and flexibility to be able to continue to be stout against the run as well. So I feel like I'm back to being the complete player I was and continue to ascend and continuing to be a better player. Back out.
Yeah, so Sheldon, on this one, I mean, a lot of good takeaways, but my main thing was like back to being a defense that fits my skill set. So like, we all want these like premier nose tackles, and specifically nose tackles. Like there's guys that play a certain way that fit in the scheme that would maximize, and then some. Mario Edwards, Tim Settle Jr., all these guys that we are fully Fatukasi that like are overlooked, and they come in here and they ball out and have career years. So and he talked about being a leader too. And then I don't know if we already talked about it, but another point that was brought up was the chemistry and camaraderie. Like it's huge with the D line, the pass rush, synchronization. Like him and Will already had that chemistry, so he knows on this down and distance or this play or this alignment, he's going to do this, so I'll do that or whatever. Like so, they kind of already have that chemistry, which is huge as well. So here's more Brevin. Let's see here. This is about Kaylee, I believe.
Yeah.
With you all at tight end group?
Yeah, man. I'm excited to work with Kelly. His energy is infectious. He's real smart. He's real passionate to have the offensive coordinator be a tight ends coach, and he's constantly, coming over to our individuals, and he's constantly coming into our tight end room to just, check in with us. It's awesome, bro. I'm excited to work with him and see how this offense progresses throughout the year. We have an unbelievable group. I think people aren't giving the tight end group enough credit for whatever reason, but I think this year we're going to be able to show everybody that this is a group that we can rely on special teams, on offense, that we're going to go out there, we're going to be able to block a defensive end one-on-one, tram to a mic, and then go run a 50-yard, catch a 50-yard touchdown. So that's the expectations from everybody in our room. Yeah.
Yeah, so blocking will definitely be the area to improve. They were one of the worst blocking units last year with some of the same personnel, but obviously scheme and coaching are a big factor in that. But yeah, so I mean that's great to hear, and that's kind of where I realized that we'll have a underrated and pretty good tight end room. So Joe Mixon was in the top 100 today at number 58, and then so now we're on to today. Some observations I had initially. Stroud threw an INT to Kalen Bullock in 7-on-7. No one opened. No one was really open. It was forced, and I think it was a pass interference. And so we'll see the video shortly. Offense looked good in team. CJ hit Kirk, who beat Petrie in the slot on deep route. We talked about that. Mills been balling still. O-line looked solid. No pressures that I saw, and run game was nice. Chubb with decent runs. Pads matter. He's a physical back, not a speed one. CJ gave Higgins a chance on a jump ball in a tight window. Petrie came underneath and hit him in the face. We'll see the highlight on that. And so someone said, are you blessing or stressing our offense after these past few days? I said, today was great for O-line, for run and pass pro. Big blessing. Couple miscommunications that will come with an offense that allows receivers to make reads based off defense and needing to be on the same page with CJ, but that will improve. Top 10 O this year. Top 10 O easy this year, in my opinion. I've been saying that. Like, I still believe it. O-line did push-ups again after practice. Michael Parsons is further away from a deal with the Cowboys now than in late March. That's funny. Yeah, and so here's what DJ said that I agree with. Overall, this was one of those days of consistent competition the whole way between the starters. Tightly contested plays. CJ Stroud was efficient during 11-on-11. He was 5 of 6 on the day. Stroud wasn't under as much pressure. Granted, it was more 3-step drops and quick passing. Observed all the same stuff. He did one throw where he drove a deep route to Jaden Higgins, placed it on Higgins, but Petrie and Stingley broke the pass up. Yeah, that was that play there. So, and here is the video from Harley. I had a good view, not as good as Harley, so he's here. I'm like over here, but like Petrie hit that motherfucker in the head. In a game, they probably would have called that helmet to helmet. And I'm glad it's practice because if that was a game, he would have knocked his head off, bro. Um, let's see. Primo says, "Would you say this is the most optimistic you've been about the Texans since 2002?" Yeah, man. I mean, last year was for me, and I had mild concerns about Slowick going into the year, but I thought the O line last year would be better than what it was because we're getting all of our guys back. We had Diggs, Nico, Tank. I thought last year was a great. I mean, it was still a good year, and I was very optimistic last year. And then the O line was shit. It turns out that Slowick had a huge regression, but yeah, I've been saying the hype and optimism and expectations of what we had last year should be this year. I think this is a chance for a legit contender to make a run. Young team, new coordinator. CJ Stroud's the truth. We got weapons galore, great coaching. A lot of good, people in the locker room. You've got experience now 2 years in a row with this, young, core and coaching staff. And you've won, 2 playoff games in 2 years. So the experience is there. We now know, what it takes. We add veterans here and there to kind of help. By far the most excited. I mean, I think we have a chance to win a Super Bowl within the next 3 years, 3 to 5 years. So, I mean, I think we're live. I think we're a legit contender each year. So I'm hyped. I mean, maybe I'm delusional, but that's how I feel, bro. I think it's elite defense, one of the top defense in the league. Just give us a slightly above average offense. And if the offense becomes a top 10 offense, which I think it can be. And then here's the pass posted by Ruben 713 Hughes Sports on X. This is the pass to Kirk. On Petrie. Yeah, so that's like a 30, 40-yard chunk gain in the slot. And then let's see. Yeah, I saw Wex in the lot. I photobombed his video.
Practice 6.
Video bomb.
The really nice day for him. And just before Jalen Petrie gets there, lands in Higgins' hands. Oh, someone's talking.
Me and DJ. I never even met Wex. I just knew he was. I was just hyped to meet the media members. I talked to him after. He was cool. Here's some of Jacob's notes. Run game had their best day so far. I agree. Jalen Smith was working on the outside cornerbacks in Indy. So, yeah, Jalen Smith, that's what I was curious about. Is he playing slot outside? Looks like he's playing outside, but he can play all. Stroud's best day, I agree. O-line's best day, I agree. Hutch, Higgins seem like the favorites to start next to Hutch and Higgins to start next to Kirk and Nico. Yeah, so I guess I think it's I think it's Nico, Higgins, Kirk, and then I would say that Hutch is probably fourth in there. Yeah, so some good observations there. Let's see what he had here. Let's see what this is. Can we see? And so this is, the team coming off of the one. Nick Neiman, 32, is the third linebacker. It's, Henry Aziz and Nick Neiman. And this was a quick out to Nico. So this was a play where quick, decisive. He recognized pre-snap that Nico had leverage on his route and just ripped it. Boom, get the ball out. That's how you negate pressure. And there was another video. Let's see what this one was. YouTube's gonna dock me for this music. Okay, this was the I'm gonna mute it. This was the play that I talked about, the miscommunication. So right here you can see Higgins in the slot. And he gets an inside release on his defender. And at this point, Stroud just wants him to go up the field. And look, now Petrie's playing a trail technique now. And so right there, he goes back to the corner. But once he beats him clean, Stroud's like, hey, look at this. Look. Yeah, just go run for a touchdown. So, this is a challenge for a rookie receiver to now have the ability to, make these adjustments on the fly. It's also a challenge for an outside receiver who's really not used to playing inside receiver, and then also not playing inside receiver in this offense to have these reads. And so it's going to be tough for Higgins. Will get it, but I mean, like Kirk, him and CJ, boom, they got that. But I mean, look at that. Instead, he runs the corner. Look at the ball coming this way, and look where Kalen Bullock was. He was over here. This was a touchdown, dude. But it's all good. I mean, it's all good. They're getting on the same page. That's just an example. That's what this practice is for. It's a new offense. We're figuring it out, and they're going to get better. They'll get it down. It's going to be dope, dude. And then Jacob said, Aaron Schatz, NFL and ESPN said Texans #1 team with under 25 talent: Stroud, Will, Sting, Kamari. I agree. And so the EXO intro from the H-Town rundown, he pointed out on this play that Petrie got hit, or that Petrie hit the play that Petrie hit Higgins. If you watch, Titus is on cleanup duty. I don't know if you can see it, but he peels back and gets some extra work. So that's the mentality we want. Here's the big John Mechie catch. You can see it's a corner route. It's kind of the tail end of it. Good contested catch. Great throw by Mills. And so, here's the interception and 7-on-7 to Kalen Bullock. It looks like PI to me. I mean, it's a great play, but you see it bumped in there a little bit. It's too good of a play. He got too good of a jump. You can kind of see him breaking on the ball. So, I mean, it is what it is. Whatever. I mean, good rep. But yeah, it doesn't matter. And then Nick Casario, I need to go back and listen to this. He was on with Payne and Pendergast on Sports Radio 610, and he said, he's talking about the culture, but then I guess he said like the O-line would be that tweet somewhere else. So, and that's the analyst. And then I roasted myself. Look at that butt chin right there, dude. When you open your phone, like, I'm not like a fat guy, but like, I guess anybody, if you're looking at a certain angle, sometimes you just got to laugh at yourself, you got to roast yourself. I got to beat people to it before they make fun of me. That's what I've learned in life. If you can make fun of yourself first, it'll disarm people from doing it. Or it can make it worse, but I still got it up there. I need to move it off the screen. Still got to beat the Ravens and Chiefs. Lance said Ethan Weber, Hutch looked good on his kick return. Oh, nice. Yeah. Lance says, crazy what a year will do. I think about the receiver room from now until then. Now, no PI, good pick. Okay. But like, I mean, so he got there and they bumped. I mean, I guess it's debatable. But he hit him before the ball got there, if it's incidental or not. So I don't know how that counts, but I know Stroud was calling for it. But regardless, I mean, it's whatever. The pick doesn't count in real life, but it's a great play. Like, it's great to see him doing that. Timothy 24 asked if I'm going to any away games. I'm trying to, man. I'm trying to. And then Engineer, I've been hearing people talk about Stroud being on a pitch count, but I saw nothing of the sort in practice. Nope, me either. I saw a comment somewhere. Someone said 6'10" was saying he's hurt again. But even if he is on a pitch count, it's not a bad thing. Like, okay, they're being proactive about not getting our quarterback hurt before the season because we're still in July. Yeah, that's good. He'll probably sit out a day or two here coming up. Like, yes, it's smart. But he didn't miss any reps, but they're only going 3-4 reps at a time. Like, he probably only had 15 total reps on offense and then another 5 in 7-on-7. Like, that's not a lot, which is good. Like, it's work smarter, not harder. These guys, we know what they can do. It's more mental. Do enough to get the feel for it. And now you have film to kind of talk back through it. These guys are pros, dude. Like, they're not like, they got drafted and they're on a team because we know their ability. Obviously, they still got to practice, but it doesn't need to be, hey, run this 100 times. So, Engineer, the stark difference between practices for offense from last year to this year and starting to believe in a Super Bowl, LOL. Yes, sir. Shepard, what away game we going to? I don't know, man. I want to go to LA, but it may be too soon. So maybe the Chargers game. We should get like a Stressens group and all travel together. That'd be dope. I know they got like the traveling Texans, but make a weekend out of it. Let's party, bro. Get wasted. I sound like a loser saying that, but yeah, it'd be dope to kind of like hang out. Like I like to go to like away games where it's like a new city and go and do shit, you know. But Zeus says, "Why'd you take down the Tyler the Creator Stroud edit? Can you please put back up?" Did I? I don't know that I did. On where? Timothy, how did you think of round 2 of Chargers versus Texans going to go? I mean, I think we're better. I think we'll beat them again, man. I definitely think we'll beat them again. And so here's D'Amico talking about Sheldon. We'll be done. I know it's been a while. I'm just catching up on a lot. A couple more clips.
I was really interested in getting Sheldon back just because knowing the type of player that he was when he was here, like the leadership that he provided. You know, I think him and Will had a really great connection their first year together, and you know, really wanted to keep Sheldon. So it was really tough seeing him go, you know, leave us, go to Cincinnati. That was a tough one because we were really working hard to get him back. Unfortunately, it didn't work out, but it's all about the right time, and it worked out this year, and so we're happy to have him back to our team.
And so they wanted to keep him, but the big takeaway is like this is going to benefit Will. Like they have that, you know, chemistry. He's good for him. Like this is good for Will. I'm not sure what I got paused on, but I know you got me on lock, Shep. But yeah, we got to figure out a game to go to. And then Timothy and IG says he'll be at the one against the Chargers because he's in Cali. I think that should be a dub. It'd be cool to go to SoFi Stadium. Ethan says Texans are doing a trip to the Rams game for NRG club section season ticket holders. Oh, that's dope. Season ticket rep member told me about it. Yeah, I'm in 354, so I'm on the end zone, but not club with the peasants. And then here's D'Amico. He's talking. It was a great question. I believe it might have been Cole. I'm not sure who it was. I also met Sam with the Chronicle today. He's a cool dude. He does a great job. D'Amico talking about what's talking about. The question was about first time play callers and like his answer, like just this is what he gave. Like one, to be aware, like he points out, it's not just players you got to develop, but also, you know, coaches. And I'll let him answer and give you the analysis.
As the first-time play caller, it's like we talk about players, rookies, and their growth and development. It's the same with play callers. Like you have to get reps. The only way to get better at something is you have to actually have to go out and do it. So for me, I try to do a really good job of putting guys in position, right? Different situations, different scenarios all throughout practice, right? Things that will come up in games. I try to make sure I'm putting those guys, you know, through those situations. So when they see them, they can go back and they have a library of, hey, we were practicing on this day. I remember this situation. This is what I call. Hey, as you go in and look at practice, sometimes you look at it. You know, myself, you're always analyzing what you did. How can you be better? You analyze it. Hey, maybe I'll call something different here, or that would have worked. So it's always about self-evaluation as a play caller. Right? Nobody else may say anything to you, but you have to constantly be a hard critic on yourself as a play caller, knowing what you want to do, when you want to do it, how you want to get it done. And I'll continue to give guys as many reps as possible to make sure they're ready to go come game time.
That's dope to hear. Yeah, so iron sharpens iron. It's not just players, it's coaches. So Nick Caley is being prepared for the first time being a play caller. And we've heard this too with D'Amico and CJ, but now from an OC, and I guess we could have said this with Slowick and obviously it didn't work. But anyways, in this example, you know, I would assume Caley can kind of bank on this better. Or maybe D'Amico learned too. Maybe he didn't do it quite as much, but like maybe we're throwing all the stuff at him that didn't work, like nickel blitzes, which we solved in practice, which we didn't solve at all last year. Like maybe some of this stuff that hurt us last year, he's throwing at him now just to prepare him. But not only do you have an elite defense with great talent to sharpen you and prepare you, but you have an elite coach that's like a defensive mastermind who is also aware of the situation and not just running vanilla stuff and, you know, making it easy. Like he's throwing all kind of stuff at you because now is the time to figure it out. Like do all this crazy stuff because you're going to see all kind of stuff. Do it now. You got film on it. You watch it, you rehearse it, and you go through it. And then now, like he said in the season, if you're game planning somebody and they do all this stuff, okay, let's go to training camp and watch, hey, D'Amico in this practice did this, and that's what this defensive coordinator is going to do. So that's very, very innovative forward of thinking by him. So that's dope to hear. Lance says he paused himself. That's hilarious. Zeus, I don't know what CJ Stroud edited with Tyler Creator on what platform. When was it posted and where? I couldn't tell you. I post so much stuff, bro. Yeah, he's really mad about it. He keeps asking about it. Engineer says every statement is an indictment on a certain individual. LOL. Yeah, that sucks, but it's true. Forrest McWhirter, what's up, Stressins? There's a lot to get hyped about this season. Guys are coming in, getting their head down, and putting in work. What's going on, man? I appreciate you. I agree. It's very exciting. We blessing, man. We're almost done here. Thank you all for the night owls hanging in here. Here's D'Amico in the tight end room. I told you I think they're
Our
underrated.
tight ends, they've been really solid all camp. Jake has done a great job of coaching those guys up, just putting the pads on. I see guys just being on it, playing with their pads, playing physical, playing with great hand placement, the tight end position, starting there in the running game and how we're blocking at that position. And then you see the route detail and the route growth starting with Cade Stover. I've seen him develop a lot as a pass catcher running the routes. He's done a really great job at the top of his routes, executing the break points, getting open. Dalton, scumbag, he's done a great job of being
So I noticed this, and then the first comment, he says Dalton's come back, like he's come back, into whatever form. But it sounds like he says Dalton scumbag. It's pretty funny. Here is he.
Dalton, scumbag, he's done scumbag, he's done a great job.
I'm gonna clip that.
Being the
Hold on.
Scumbag, he's done a great job.
Dalton scumbag on Instagram. Zeus, I don't know, man. It might have been a collab, and the guy took it down. It's probably on my X. I appreciate your support. Thanks for saying you love the channel. I appreciate you tuning in, man. It means a lot.
Being the elite pass catcher that we expected him to be, and Brevin, his explosiveness, his play at the line of scrimmage, and when he gets the ball in his hands, like that entire group, they have a lot of different things that they do well, and you got 3-4 tight ends who can operate in that manner is going to help us. So not only Kaylee, but also Jake. And Coach Jake's done a great job with the tight end group.
Their streams have been having weird glitches happen. But yeah, so again, array of skills, and he said they're blocking well, so that's dope. Alex Caruso is a Texans fan. That's pretty cool. And then here is D'Amico talking about Will Anderson Jr.
Will has done a really good job of just taking his game to the next level. When it comes to his pass rush, I haven't seen a person that's more dialed in when it comes to like what moves he's trying to execute, right? Really, and not predetermining moves, but truly playing instinctive, playing off of what the offensive line is giving him, whether he needs to play speed to power, whether he needs to be a little more finesse, working the edge, right, working the inside. But he's just doing a really great job of really developing that pass rush repertoire, and him working with Coach Rod and working with Daniil, and you see the growth, you see the improvement. I talk about Will all the time as that relentless player and what we represent as a Texan, but it's also he represents that part of that growth factor, and what I love to see from all of our guys. And you can see this year, I know he's going to be a much better pass rusher than he was last year, just because of the work that he's put in all throughout the offseason, and now in training camp is still growing each and every day. And I have to keep him away from a quarterback because he's getting a little too close. But he's doing a great.
Yeah, Will has been balling out, and some of it was without pads. But I mean, he's a freak. He's Will Anderson Jr. But yeah, I mean, the guy's got a bag now. Like he's working all these pass moves. Like finally can hone in on these details. I mean, someone like him is unstoppable. It's JJ Watt like in the sense of like his drive and his, he said he's what did he say? Like he's he's done a really good job. I haven't seen a person more dialed in when it comes to what moves he's trying to execute. So like he's locked in on this, like that will, like the drive is what I'm saying, like with Watt. And then Caserio, there's a lot of stuff, man. It's crazy. Caserio on Pat McAfee. There we go. This is on the Texans secondary.
One of your guys actually made it into Darius Butler's sophomore superstar.
Oh, wow.
Everything DB sophomore superstars group here is a loaded class. Top 100 across the board. Go ahead, D-Buck.
Absolutely. AJ just asked you about bringing in CJ, GJ, but you got some studs there already. Petrie, Stingley, Paige Stingley, who I think is one of the top, probably 2 corners in the league, and some other weapons. How have they gelled as a group so far early in this camp?
Yeah, by the way, DB, that's a really good list you have there. Those are all good football players.
I have everything, man. Hey, that's what you saw when you were throwing at his pro day. That's other stuff.
You know what you're talking about. But as far as our group, it's an interesting group. They're highly, highly competitive. They're very, very salty, and they really don't say a lot. They just kind of show up and work. Petrie's that way. Lassiter is that way for sure. I don't think Stingley has said 15 words since he's been here as a rookie. But they kind of let their play do the talking, which you like to see. Bullock is kind of the same way, and Bullock's got a little bit of personality, but they're all kind of younger players. And when you add CD to that mix, it's just kind of an interesting group that we've kind of pieced together. Jimmy Ward is still on the team and on the roster, has a lot of experience. Jimmy's hurt right now. I know he's dealing with, a situation personally as well. But it's a pretty good blend of some younger players that we feel continue to ascend. And then some experienced players. So ultimately, the big thing defensively is just trying to take the ball away, trying to prevent big plays, and then just getting the ball with reckless abandon, because that's what D'Amico preaches to the defense, and we have a lot of guys that fit that profile.
Yes, sir. That's what I'm talking about. And then Casario on Pat McAfee about CJ Gardner-Johnson. It's not wanting to load. What is going on with this? What's crazy is I still have 5-6 more clips I want to post, and then from these interviews too, I'll have several that I'll do. I'm like, I can't keep posting. I'll just delete them. And even then, it's not the whole video of an interview. It's just, there's a lot of good content, man. All right, here we go. It's not loading. Whatever. Yeah. So on CJ GJ, he said he's very instinctive, very aware football player, good attitude, has great energy, loves football, and loves to compete. One thing I pointed out on the stream earlier about this morning when I was at practice with CJ too, that I also realized during the Pivot podcast is that he's a very instinctual player. Also coupled with he's not afraid to take risks. So if you talk to a lot of Eagles fans, most of them adore him and love him. Some that are kind of coping with him moving on, oh, have fun with him and his touchdowns he gives up. But that is because of that, because he is an instinctual player. He may have an assignment, but if he has a gut feeling to take a chance, he will. And sometimes, it can be risky, but you can make these big, crazy plays and sometimes get burned. But as long as you get more of the positive than the negative, it's good. But on the pivot, he talked about, there was an example in practice where they were in a formation and it was empty. And he said, I knew from watching them and knowing them, it's going to be the QB draw with Hurts. Okay, yeah, it's smart. He's like, my role was, middle third or, cover 3, middle third. And so most players can see that and think, it's that play. But no, my job says not to do that. I'm going to stay back here and do my job. But he's not afraid to take risks. No, I know the play. I'm supposed to be here. Fuck that. I'm going to go make the play. And he did. So, you need players like that. You coach them to an extent, and then, stuff like that, they just have to do. And so that's something, too. That instinctual side is what he can help Kalen Bullock with as well. So Forrest McWhorter said, good to see Petrie back out there. He looks even hungrier than ever. Did he hit Higgins in the face on that coverage? He did. He hit him. So he was from underneath and met him at the ball. And he let up, but it was helmet to helmet. It could have been bad. I had a pretty good view of it. And yeah, he got burned on that one, whatever. I'm glad he's back too. Engineer sounds like an older Kalen Bullock. And let's see what else we got. I think that's pretty much it. Okay, we got Farmer Gronk, Cade Stover, talking about being on the farm.
Let's go back to the farm, feed cows, work out, catch football, and do it again next day probably. Get older, the thing I love the most is that I can wake up and nobody tells me what to do. I can do what I want to do on the farm, how I want to do it, and if it doesn't work out, I got myself to blame. So it's just a good way to figure out, good thing to learn, good way to learn about life, and just help yourself figure things out and just grow as a person there, I feel like.
Is there any type of
I mean, there's a lot. I mean, I run a lot of hills in my farm, and then overall, I mean, I carry a lot of 5-gallon buckets full of feed, and then you're building pipe fence, you're building all kind of stuff. I always say to everybody out there, like, if I could just do that all day long, run a couple hills in the morning, and then just work, I say you have the most natural strength in the world, I feel like.
Awesome. Simple man. Yeah, that's cool to see. So, yeah, that's it. We made it through the timeline. Let's go. Yeah, that's all I got, man. I'll try and start doing, some of this so we're not having to recap all that stuff. It can be more brief. But yeah, I mean, enjoyed it. As always, if you ever need anything, hit me up. That's all I got. Until next time, we blessing. Hopefully I'll start writing soon too. So visit